Hello, folks. Welcome to the Telling Tales 5th anniversary not live stream, video recording. I managed it.
Woo.
It's good to see you. Yes, I know. 5 years. What is this? 5 years. It genuinely feels like, I don't want to say weeks, but it feels like about a year ago when we started and did all this. So, my gosh.
Personal
Anyway.
experience may vary.
If you've just started watching, then it might feel like no time at all since you've started here.
The magic of recordings and being able to watch things from the past. Yeah, before we get into anything else, check below for our links to various things. Discord is down there. We've still got an active Discord where we natter with folks who are interested in the channel and all things going on. If you're watching this on Twitch, check out our YouTube where we've got literally hundreds of old videos of various different systems. We're talking about lots of different systems we did. If you're on YouTube, check out our Twitch if you want to catch us live when we do live streams and such. Yeah, so thanks very much for catching up on our video. It's so exciting to be celebrated. Before we get to a bit of a retrospective on what Telling Tales has done, some of the most exciting moments, all of what we've enjoyed and perhaps sometimes regretted about things that have happened on the channel, I just wanted to talk just for 30 seconds about Telling Tales going forward, because obviously Matt, who has put so much time and effort and contribution and passion and maybe even love into the channel over the last 5 years, blood, sweat and tears, more likely, has stepped back, at least for the moment, from like managing everything and from streaming. Might be involved in small things in future, but for now it's a handover to us as a community, basically. And we really enjoy Telling Tales, and we all agreed that we want to keep doing it in some form. So going forward, you will probably be seeing right now that Call of Cthulhu is still continuing, and we in Backstage are also discussing a few other things which might happen in the relatively near future. There's a couple of systems that are potentially going to be starting late this year, early next year, sort of thing. I think Johnny's already mentioned his Halloween one shot, which he's going to be doing, which is exciting. We've got a few folks, me and you, John, Steve, and someone else. Can't remember who else. A few of us will be on that, so that'll be good. So yeah, more, and I'm not going to say better. That's just what I mean to Matt. More and more to come.
That means they're finally making the leap to D&D.
We've all been, every single one of us is sitting in the background like, when?
We've been slowly trying to shove Matt out the door for 5 years just so that we can run the Curse of Strahd.
And you could do that crossover with Matt Mercer, because like he wouldn't have done anything with us while I was here. He's too scared of me.
Well, we can't have two Matts.
Big news, folks. We're now all going to be drinking, so we're going to play drunk D&D.
Millionaires?
Every 3.
You're all starting to go into voice acting as a secondary career.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One final note before we get into chatting about our kind of celebration and all of the stuff that's gone on. Inevitably, since we're going to be talking about past streams and videos and all that, please do bear in mind this is probably going to be the most spoiler-filled video you could possibly watch. There might be spoilers to every single piece of content we've ever done. If you don't mind, or if you've seen it all, that's absolutely fine. If you do mind, maybe don't watch it. That's the only warning you're going to get.
Or like it, and then you can go.
Then watch all of the other videos, and then watch this.
Yeah. Put it on mute.
Share.
Walk away from the computer. No.
Mute and loop.
Shameless.
Yeah.
Shameless. We're not desperate at all. Can you tell? Yeah, I think that is everything to start the video with. So without further ado, it all began with Symbaroum, didn't it, Matt? Why Symbaroum?
I wish I had an answer for you. Good start.
Was it because you wanted to play it?
I think that was basically it. Yeah. The like origins of the channel broadly were like, you can't really talk about the start of Telling Tales without mentioning ATCB, really, because that was the channel a lot of us did before this. It did have some role playing on it. It was mainly board games, with some video games sprinkled in as well. And then that kind of went fallow, And the driving force behind telling tales was I felt that I was better at running role-playing games than I was at playing board games on a YouTube channel. And B, I recently our like extended friendship group had kind of spread out a bit to different kind of towns and cities around the country, very different countries, in fact. And I wanted an excuse to play some role-playing games with my friends online, and that was kind of the reasoning behind it, and also to try and make it successful, which is a curse I would never inflict upon anyone else. Never do that. Only do what makes you happy. And yeah, I think literally Simbaroom was just like Justin says. I think I just wanted to run it. Really, I'd recently got most of it, like bought most of it, and I also looked online and couldn't really see anyone else playing it. So I thought, well, that's a niche. And I'd liked it, and other people liked the look of it. And I honestly think that was it. I don't think there was any specific reason behind it other than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, that's good. It's I think we all said, sorry, John, I'm just thinking. Well, I remember saying to you early on in the days of ATCB, like, you need to do a role play thing, because I always remember really enjoying our role plays back in the space. And it's funny how, as you say, when we all moved apart, board games don't translate online at all well. Whereas role playing, I mean, I don't know what everyone's thoughts are on this. I guess it's an early question, but doing it on video, it's harder in a sense, but it's not too much worse, and the accessibility of it just makes, as you say, Matt, we've been able to continue doing roleplay for years and regularly via this. So.
I think it is worth remembering this. I know it was so long ago and it had no cultural impact whatsoever, but the specific time that we started was like a few months, about half a year into the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, talking to people, like, we still had some people close enough to do board games every now and again. And then everyone was confined to the house and no one was allowed to look on another human being. So that makes it really hard to do board games, which kind of only left role-playing games. Because
there was one of
you could do those online.
There was one other thing which we probably forgot about. I'm pretty sure this was involved, but maybe it was a bit later. There was a YouTube algorithm change that made it that if you were hosting multiple types of content on your channel, you would be massively disincentivized through the algorithm. So we had to kind of pick a lane, and we wanted to be doing more role-playing games too.
Yeah. And so because we had to pick a lane, and that lane wasn't, to be honest, even if we picked board games, I still think we'd have had to start with a fresh channel, because the old channel was corrupted with all the other like video games and stuff we did. So Justin's bang on there. That was a massive motivator towards starting something new rather than just starting running role-playing games on ATCB.
I think I have a vague memory of what led you to Simbaroom, because I remember talking to you on and off about it. It was because we'd started Mutant Year Zero on ATCB, videos of which have never been seen outside of the group.
Never made the light of day.
And then from there, I remember you saying it was like, oh, I got this dark fantasy game by the same company called Forbidden Lands, because it had the same sort of hex crawl thing. Then you were like, oh, but I guess the hex crawl doesn't really work very well if you're doing online. So I've got this other dark fantasy published by the same company. And it kind of just like landed on that as dark, atmospheric, not D&D.
No, that sounded right. I just thought it was a game I could run well as well. That kind of like, because when I run, a lot of the stuff I run might not be pure horror, but it's like horror layered on top of something else. And I think that's kind of one of my strengths. So that's probably why. But like I said, there was no grand like vision or anything. It was just that seems like a good pick, and it's lasted. And we are arguably (?) a couple of years ago, we were certainly like the biggest Simbaroom campaign on YouTube, which obviously, looking at the numbers, make your judgment of that. For Simbaroom, not for us. But like, yeah, I don't know if we still, well, we're not anymore right now, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if we've been eclipsed. I would assume since they translated it to D&D rules that someone has taken it and run with it more than us. I don't know, but yeah. And it, it's had some high points. I think it's had, like, we ran a little mini series for the Free League Twitch channel.
It's quite cool.
That they didn't really promote in any way. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm using all my friends in the industry. And yeah, like that was fun. And a bit of a hidden gem on the channel as well.
Go check out Fetters of Stone.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one.
Well, we will move on to all the other wonderful things that we played, but I thought a really good place to start, speaking of Simbaroom, is some of the early, I suppose, memes of Simbaroom that keep coming back. It seems like the time to mention, because I think some of these were before anyone. John, you joined the group quite early on.
No,
after Fetters of Stone, so some of these will be before you even.
I was stage manager for the entire run.
That's
because
stage managers.
old school viewers may remember we used to have like a backstage, like someone to run the streams and to move all the cameras around and also to act as rules lawyer. And then after a couple of years, we decided that unless we were playing a game that was really intense, we probably didn't need a separate person for that. So I was there from the beginning. I was just lurking in the shadows.
Yeah, I think it was, to be honest, it was more that we realized we just needed the players.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford to have a stream manager for things. Yeah, like back when the big meme things of Simbaroom occurred, because John and Stephen joined the campaign at exactly the same time. Fetters of Stone notwithstanding, and a lot of it was before that. So in one of the very first few episodes, we had something. We did it for a while, but then for whatever reason, our player for FNA, L, who both L and FNA left the campaign not long before John and Stephen joined. But for whatever reason, and to her instant regret, Elle, in character, referred to her character's father as Pappy. And that resulted in us employing a hashtag for quite some time of never regret Pappy, which definitely didn't take long.
You still hear it in the modern Simbarooms occasionally.
You hear it all over the place on YouTube, Markiplier,
never regret Pappy.
Mr. Beast still hasn't paid us royalties for it. At this point, FNA walks in.
Morning.
There's the woman who turned two of those things into paste. Now, that was good work.
Well, I mean, I've been hunting most of my life. I undo what my pappy taught me.
No, I like Pappy. Pappy was good, Al. Never regret Pappy.
I only do what my pappy taught me.
Never regret Pappy.
Never regret Pappy.
Never regret Pappy. Hashtag. Let's get it trending. Yeah, there was that, and there was. Go on.
I believe the very famous Castor moment of the buffet.
The buffet, yeah, there was
possibly the best known meme.
Yeah, I referred to like a layout of food in like a sort of little cult, little cult underground building as a buffet, which obviously immediately realized it was perhaps not the most dark fantasy term to use. And that led to the players constantly calling any amount of food gathered together buffet for the entire campaign, for which I am grateful.
Just to be clear, though, though you described a thing using the correct word, essentially.
It is the correct term, but perhaps not a flavorful one for the setting, which I appreciate.
not in the setting though. It was like this is like an underground, like hidden cult. They're like scraping to get by.
Yeah,
they're like
Look,
trying to overthrow
I'm on Matt's
the
side here. I think he did a crap job too. Like
they don't do buffets.
No,
it's just you were conjuring up small triangular sandwiches, which were not there. Yeah,
which
okay.
also they were not doing. There was no conjuration involved. Yeah, like it was just a momentary gaffe, which they decided to employ as a tool to punish me for the endless hours of entertainment I gave them. She gestures kind of over towards one side of the room where there's like a little table set up with some chairs, and there's kind of almost a primitive buffet set up right there. a place where the worshippers who come here can. I realize I've broken Mike with that phrasing. Shared food for the worshippers here, where they, people bring food and they. Yeah,
that's a much better way to describe it rather than buffet, which just fills me with images of sausage rolls, little bits of cheese and pineapple and cocktail sticks.
I didn't say there weren't sausage rolls. Similarly, there was a thing. Oh no, that didn't come from Simba Room. That came from a later thing. I probably won't mention that much about Coriolis. You know exactly what I'm about to say. From
I
Coriolis,
just realized it wasn't on the list.
Where I emphasized the size of something by describing it, I believe, as two medium-sized tapirs strapped together.
Which is an insane description. I would like to point out.
It's insane. Yes.
It was a very hard mental image to shake.
Yeah, but to quote Senior Chang, "Have you met me?" It was a lot. But those are the things that dreams are made of.
Was it Coriolis also where you described something as being the size of a dog, which quickly descended into like like a medium dog?
What is the size of a dog?
I remember that.
Yeah. I think I was describing the same thing, and I think me saying two medium-sized tapirs strapped together was an effort to get away from the dog analogy, which it did very successfully.
It did. We stopped thinking about dogs.
I watched that recording. I remember there was a deep conversation about how dogs are notoriously variable in size, and a dog is not a standard size thing.
Yeah. Is the term dimorphic for a species that has a lot of physical variation?
So.
Dimorphic will be two variations. Like you usually talk about sexual dimorphism.
Yeah. There's a term.
Subscribe.
John's around to provide the knowledge we need.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing that word, but
we have also missed from our list the other famous meme that we have used to torment Matt relentlessly, which is everyone's favorite Simba Room character.
Baramo.
Stephen and John were on board for that one. Baramo is from Wrath of the Warden.
I think so.
Hammer.
Witch Hammer.
No, it's before.
Witch Hammer.
I thought. Hammer. Oh, sorry, it's right at the beginning of Witch Hammer.
Baramo was
on Carvosti.
Yeah.
Oh, is he on Carvosti?
Yeah, because he was part of the refugees afterwards.
Yeah, sure. It's literally, he was just a priest. Literally no discerning features or personality whatsoever, but the players for some reason decided he was their favorite NPC. And I want to emphasize, it's not like, Matt didn't like the character, but there was no character. He was just a priest called Baramo who was like an NPC who gave a random bit of information or something. And for some reason, they were like, we love Baramo. I think literally the joke was that they loved Baramo. And then after they forgot that the joke was that they loved Baramo and only remembered loving Baramo. As you walk in, you can see that one of the kind of junior theurgs who is singing kind of a rough chorus to Prios along one wall is one who you recognize from the Sun Temple at Thistlehold, specifically occasionally bringing the Lightbringer, things that she might ask, kind of serving the Lightbringer directly.
Okay, I will leave the others and make my way over to that individual.
Okay. I take it you're waiting for them to finish their chorus rather than.
Yeah, I think I'll do the polite thing.
Absolutely. They kind of all step down and start stepping away to other duties, and the one who you recognize sort of goes to walk past you and then kind of sort of does a double take and says, "Oh, Father Anton."
Oh, it's an unexpected sight for sure. I'll give the symbol of Frios and give a slight bow. Forgive me, I know that you worked with Lightbringer, and I don't recall your name.
For God's sake, Mike. His name is... Needing names for everyone. like they're real people or something. His name is Berimo.
Berimo. What family name
Fuck
do you
off.
have?
I can't answer that. None, because he's not a noble.
If there's any consolation, I think
review.
it's impossible to. I think it's impossible to GM for any length of time without this happening to you.
Yeah.
Like without the players doing some no nameless goblin somewhere gets a name, or a priest, and then they become the main character.
So this is why I try and shut down player interest as quickly as possible.
Back on the railroad.
With the famous Matt chicken in a cage analogy. Because there's nothing worse than when your players develop interest in something you've created.
In Matt's role plays, there is nothing but cage chickens and railroads. That's all that exists.
You're dangerously close to the truth. Yeah. I think there's quite a lot of little memorable moments in Symbaroum, I think. Like, I know that weirdly it's something that didn't occur to me because Sam was asking, for stuff for a list. Weirdly, Ephinaea's death didn't occur to me. I think because it was so long ago now, and I've become so used to the party not having Ephinaea, but having, Elindra and Arendar. Yes, I am forgetting the character names. So that didn't occur to me, but I think that did stick with people because it was like, oh, this is, a campaign where people can die. So that was probably quite significant for people. But the two ones that did get raised a lot, I believe, from the list were quite related. They're in the Matt genre of old wizard goes out with a bang. Sort of goes out with a bang. The Fate of Isocles in Beltals for Castor, which John will know because John was stream managing, but Stephen wasn't there for. But I think was a little subplot I put into it of kind of this older wizard with kind of developing dementia or senility of some kind. And then kind of like slowly remembering more about their own self and their power through the story via their interactions, primarily with Chris's character. And then at the end, kind of remembering more fully and basically like torching this entire cult that was threatening to destroy the city in a last kind of flare of power. And I think people quite liked that. I know I did. It was one of my favorite things in the campaign. And there was kind of a similar scene with Desaba in a more recent story, where this living saint kind of annihilates this awful fascistic Templar as the climax of a huge battle outside a city.
Is Isocles kind of in a position where he can fix? I can fix a glance to him.
Yeah, I think so. What's your intention?
My intention is to shout, "Burn them!" Okay,
you can go ahead and do that. Why don't you give me a... no, you know what? I don't think I need a roll for that. You kind of shout that out loud. Cagliostro kind of sneers and says, he's not in a position to do anything. Isocles kind of rears round and looks at him, and then his gaze goes back to you, and just for a moment, kind of everything seems quiet around you, Steo, in the chamber, and you hear Isocles say, "You have the bearing of an infantryman." And his eyes kind of widen and focus for a second, and he just kind of looks around the chamber and says, "Run. Run!" And the kind of the voice that was cracked and weak earlier is suddenly powerful and carries across the chamber as if across a battlefield. Cagliostro kind of turns and looks at him and says, "We are the ones in control. We will not run from you." Cagliostro is looking at the full three of you and Urfons. The run is not directed at Cagliostro or the cultists. And you can see a wavering in the air around him. Heat rising, his eyes aflame, literally. What are the three of you doing?
Probably running.
Yeah.
As you do so, you kind of run away. The lindworm is still bucking and weaving, attempting to gain control back over itself. You dash out of the passageway, and as you do so, would anyone like to look over their shoulder?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cagliostro is kind of like almost kind of wrestling with Isocles. Isocles has turned and kind of has one still large, powerful hand grasped around the back of Cagliostro's neck. Cagliostro is desperately kind of has drawn a dagger from his belt and he's just plunging it into Isocles' torso over and over again. But Isocles, with a grim smile on his face, is drawing Cagliostro into a flaming, fiery embrace. And then anyone looking back, you blink for a second as light flares up, a colossal pillar of flame jetting through Isocles' body up into the air, out, consuming the entire interior of the cavern, which is shuddering and crashing, and horrible cracking noises being heard all around you. I am assuming you are running for your lives.
Yes.
Can everyone make me a quick roll, please?
Good. Oh, 3.
That's a D12, Chris.
I also got a 3.
I got a 16. I failed.
Okay. You are older than the others, and it tells. You can see Anton and Ascarai and Urfons ahead of you kind of dashing out. And as you are making way, you can feel the heat behind you. Not only the temperature of it, but the pressure of it, pushing you forward, but not quite fast enough. Can you give me an armor roll, please?
One last 8. Come on, I believe in you. It's a 5. That's still
It's a 5. As you kind of stagger forward just out of the mine entrance, you collapse on the ground and kind of roll forwards. You can feel singes as the back of your hair is caught flame, and you desperately pat at them. Just take 1 toughness, please. There is a horrible cracking and crunching, and the entire mine seems to collapse inward on itself. Jets of smoke and flame bursting out of the hillside as it does so. There is a shuddering roar, and a great further crack occurs, and Margamal the Lindworm bursts out of the wreckage and immediately kind of undulates through, almost hovering above in the air, and then is off over the hillside and away, swiftly dwindling out of view. The speed of the creature unbelievable as it makes for the north. The rest of the mine, having already collapsed once, does so again with the wake of the Lindworms passing, and all that's left within seconds is smoking rubble on the side of the hilltop. Okay. Desaber the Old lifts herself up from her meditation with an audible grunt of pain and does not stop rising when her stick falls from her hand and her feet leave the wooden boards of the cart. She gently glides into the air a few feet overhead, sundogs and radiant bloom coalescing around her until she's almost painful to look at. She speaks in a strong voice that carries over the chaos of the battlefield far more than it should. Our father is in the sky above you, sir. It is a great sadness that your soured faith means more to you than the evidence of your eyes and the warmth on your skin. Your burning vengeance is naught but a shadow and a lie. That is a mistake many men like you make. Prios is not fire. Prios is the dawn. Prios is light. A blinding brightness erupts from the Lightbringer's form, channeling into a beam that engulfs Ivano Viara. His huge form can be dimly glimpsed within, defiantly upright against the holy force turned against him. He takes one step forward as if against a mighty wind, and then the Lightbringer says something else that cannot be heard clearly, lost in a sudden roar of silence and light that leaves all of you tumble to the earth, clutching at your heads and gasping for air as you are overwhelmed. Moments later, your senses return, sight full of a glowing after effect, and the noise of warriors groaning and slowly scrabbling up from the ground, painful in your ears. Nothing is left of Ivano Viara but empty armor and an elongated shadow of his form blasted into the ground behind him. DeSaber hangs briefly overhead before suddenly falling limp, her guards scrambling to catch her in time. Yeah.
I think there's something very fun and very appealing to be reminded that the protagonists are not the most powerful people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that like heroes have existed before you came along and you're kind of just following in their trail.
Yeah,
very much.
It's something I really like doing, especially in the fantasy genre. It's something I associate with Tolkien to a certain degree, because Tolkien talks about kind of these huge legendarium and heroes of the past. I also actually associate it with Song of Ice and Fire quite a lot, because it's not so much present in the TV show, if that's what people are more familiar with, but in the books you definitely get the sense that the story of the books is after the Age of Heroes has passed. It's like the greatest knights, the strongest, most remarkable characters, they're all gone or faded, and now you're left with this kind of like incredibly messy aftermath. And I like that, and in the way Symbaroum has that, because it's almost post-apocalyptic in that it comes after a literal apocalypse where like a new land is being claimed. So I like that sense of bedding history into it, which I think people responded to well, because they like those bits. So
I always think of it as the anti-Elder Scrolls.
Sure. Yeah.
I as a viewer, I remember finding the Isocles bit particularly poignant because of the character, and because I think obviously all characters done well, but a character like that is a particularly unique one you don't come across, and certainly not in roleplay ever really in my experience. And it was so sad. It was just a really sad ending.
But there's a bittersweetness to it as well. Like at least he went out knowing what he was doing and doing good.
You don't expect to feel that much when watching a roleplay.
That's what a game with Matt will do. No, but like, yeah, I think Stephen, you mentioned a couple of other things as well. I think on Symbaroum, right?
I mean, so there's a few things that stood out for me with Symbaroum. I mean, the DeSaber kind of holy wrath thing was particularly like affecting for me, because obviously, you know, Alindra was this kind of trainee Templar throne, and has a very complicated relationship with the Sun Church and with DeSaber, and so was really involved in proceedings, but like was feeling completely overwhelmed at that point, because we were facing what looked like certain death, and then to pull out this like what I can only describe as like a textbook kind of Deus Ex Machina in the form of DeSaber was incredible.
Kind of annihilating the enemy with the nuclear power of the sun, sort of thing. Yeah,
right. Whilst like lecturing them on sort of canon, and on their like misunderstandings of like Prios's teachings was great. Like a lot of the other stuff that jumped out for me in Symbaroum was like moments of extreme discomfort. I think it's a game that lends itself to that, and I think you're a GM that kind of relishes in that.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about Yellow King later.
Yeah. So yeah, some of the ones that I picked out from Cimarron that were memorable were, I mean, there was the massacre in Blackmoor, where we'd been sent into what is essentially a refugee camp to fight cultists, and it became really apparent that this was not like some frothing army that presented us any real danger. It was like
real desperate human beings.
Yeah, they were incredibly desperate
pushed
people
to the edge of decency by
that were just turning to anything that would give them some hope.
I mean, I wasn't meaning it to be timely, but yeah.
No, I mean, but it was and we were just like we were put in this position where we felt we kind of had to do this thing and to essentially be these monsters. And that was memorable. For its kind of discomfort and for its kind of it's the way that it hit home. There are battles, right, and there are fights and stuff where you kind of roll dice and we got the monster, we won. This was not that. So that was definitely memorable.
The three cultists kind of charge towards you, a goblin and two humans. The goblin wielding what looks like a kind of like wicked, like a dinner knife that's been kind of sharpened out into a sharper blade. And as they come towards you, the first thing that happens, one of the humans just dives towards you with a cry. You literally, you've adopted your infantryman position as someone being charged, and you just steady, for old time's sake, you steady the foot of your spear against your own foot and just swing and lower it onto the charge, and that human just dives onto your spearhead, gouging a great rent in his throat, which erupts blood over and spatters blood all around you, over the other goblin and the human, and he collapses to the ground, coughing and choking, and going still very quickly into the mud. As the others sort of are slightly distracted and looking to one side by this, the goblin gives a cry nevertheless and scampers towards you. You trip the goblin quite badly. You hear a crack, maybe it's patella or shin, knocked to one side by the sweep of your spear, which you then twist round and stab into it on the ground. The other human is coming towards you. You pitch the head, the blunt end of your spear over, and the human, like the human beforehand, runs into it, but this time kind of cracks into it with his Adam's apple sort of crunching into the whatever is underneath, and as he kind of staggers back, choking, you flip the spear back round, take a sharp step forward, and thrust, and it's done. The goblin and the two humans never even made close to contact with you.
I love how I went from delight through to regret through to revulsion over the course of that 5 or 6 minutes there. Thank you.
If anything does occur to you from this quick and brutal put down, Steo, these are not warriors. So that's it for the cultists. So Steo, you now have your actual action. Because that was all within the cultists' turn. What were you saying about being useless again?
Yeah. Look, I mean, in fairness, it's not so much me that's useless. It's the 30 gosh darn experience points I sunk into Polar Mastery, which has yet to be used.
It will be used. Don't you worry. Maybe not when you're fighting desperate refugees turned to a cult out of their own economic and spiritual misfortune, though.
And of course, the tent episode,
the famous tent episode, the 2-hour conversation.
Yeah.
There's no good choices to be made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like the weird, like that remarkable 2-hour just dialogue, pure dialogue, like not plot. It's all just character work and improvement. How unusual. Meanwhile, on Monday nights.
We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah.
Sure, but you I think the expectation with something with a fantasy thing like Symbaroum is that there would be like the stuff that would jump out might be particular fights or dungeons or like and like there have been some highlights like that for sure, but that was like it was just the point that the characters had been sort of putting off taking a side and picking a lane, and they had just run out of road on that.
Yeah,
they were no longer able to play both sides, and they every possible way out of that situation. And I think there were far fewer ways out of that situation than they thought there were.
I remember
that was
watching all of. Sorry, Stephen. I remember watching all of Witchhammer as a viewer, and for the whole thing saying, "Just pick a side" to myself, watching the players refuse to go any way and run straight down the middle and just piss everyone off.
But what if we picked the wrong side?
Oh, yeah.
Until that point that we essentially got forced into picking a side, and and that enabled things to kind of move forward to their conclusion. But yeah, that was great.
Speaking
in a way, we kind of didn't pick a side. We picked a side of who to help in the immediacy, but we didn't exactly swear. Well, we did literally swear fealty, but we weren't. We were doing
our fingers crossed.
Yeah, we weren't being honest about that.
No, but we were being essentially supervised for that trip under Carvasti. So there was very little that we could do, except for right at the end to like subvert that. So,
speaking of discomfort, I think there's another classic Symbaroum moment we have to mention: Anton being punched in the nuts by a goblin.
I was wondering if there was a way to segue into that, and you perfect. No notes.
I feel like it's the last significant Symbaroum moment, which just needs to be.
I confess I barely remember this. I remember where and when it happened, but I really don't remember that much about it.
I sort of feel like it may have happened more than once.
I can't remember, honestly. It feels like a very un-me moment. It's one of those
I don't know.
that came about quite organically with dice rolls.
I think it stood out for being quite a tonal shift.
Yeah.
And I think it was just like Mike rolled the dice so badly that we could all see that there was only one way that the scene was going to go.
Yeah.
And I
seem to recall there was a real run up to that where there was a lot of sort of planning and scheming and plotting, and then dice rolls happened and it went to shit so rapidly.
Yeah. And it was essentially Anton and this goblin messenger, and we were all elsewhere, I think. So he was just like, you've got this one part of the plan. You have to persuade this messenger to take a message, or the message was being delivered to him. I can't remember. But like you have the conversation with the messenger.
Yeah.
And it was just a train wreck.
But you've definitely noticed that there is a small goblin. A young goblin has entered the front of the wing ladle and is kind of looks around a bit and then is walking over to the innkeeper in a kind of slightly high piping voice, declaring that he has a message for room 3.
Okay, I will first cast Blessed Shield in case I need to take down a 7-year-old child. I'm obviously kidding there. No, I will just quickly intervene and get the kids' attention and fairly forcefully grab this goblin by the arm and pull them to one side and just say, who was it who sent you? Was it a guy wearing a mask?
as you do, the innkeeper looks a little bit confused because the goblin kind of got his attention a little bit already, but he's kind of basically watching and waiting to see the immediate results of this. The first thing I'd like you to do, Anton, is roll strong at +5.
I'm not going to do this. There's no way I'm going to do this.
You were grabbing his arm. You said you were grabbing his arm. Maybe the goblin doesn't want his arm grabbed. Maybe the goblin, which is why you have a +5. Maybe the goblin doesn't want his arm grabbed.
That's a 20.
I told you all. I told you all at the beginning of the session.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Oh god. Well, I love having you in this group, Mike, because your roles really do stretch my GM skills. So, okay. I think this goblin, Mike, is... we had a similar thing, right, when... we've had similar things before. You're trying to just... And I understand that you're just trying to kind of grab the goblin to just... You're not restraining the kid. You're just trying to stop him go. But, this is a kid... He's grown up on the streets, and let's be honest, a priest grabbing him might be the last thing he wants to happen. This this goblin is really at a perfect striking height for a bit of street fighting, Mike. And this goblin runner is going to punch Anton surprisingly hard directly in a place that Anton would not want to be punched. So, and I don't think you get an armor roll for this, but why don't you go ahead and give me a, well, it's an unarmed hit, and it's only a kid. You know what? Go ahead and take 1 toughness, please, Anton. And I think, the goblin has just struck you in the unmentionables and is kind of backing off a little bit and kind of warily looking at you and then looking over at the innkeeper, who maybe isn't happy that one of his customers has just been punched in the testicles by a small goblin messenger boy. What are you trying to do out of this, Anton?
Well, I think I would be trying to speak, but having experienced this in out of character as well, being hit in that area, not by a child. Although I do have young nephews.
There's a lot of flailing. A lot of flailing happens.
I think it's if you're caught in that area, sometimes you can find it hard to speak, and you can sort of be bent over double, if not on all fours, and feeling quite sick. So I'd be trying to speak to, trying to get the goblin's attention, and just maybe trying to say, "I'll pay you," but in a slightly quiet way to not get too much attention drawn on me. Although by this point, I suspect there is quite a lot of attention drawn on me.
Yeah, and again, let's just think, maybe this is bringing real world optics into it, of a child hitting a priest in the balls and then the priest protesting, "But I was going to pay you." Maybe not the most. But let's not sink into those details.
You've made this so much worse. You've repeatedly brought up a sexual connotation to this that just didn't exist and wasn't there.
No, and to be fair, we don't know if in the world of Symbaroum, the followers of the Sun Temple has the same reputation for pederasty as major religious institutions doing this one. I'll stop talking about that now.
Getting very close to topics that will get us actually
this is going to get us banned off
YouTube.
Twitch. No, only if you say specific words. So it's fine. Yeah, well, you know what? Give me a persuasive roll, and I'm gonna go the whole 9 yards on this one and say it's got I don't know, a -6 on it, because you're not very articulate right now, and also you got safe to say you got off on the wrong foot,
I
or rather the wrong curled tiny fist.
I actually get that on the money because I have 10 and I've rolled a 4.
Okay. The innkeeper is now kind of shouting at the little goblin, and he kind of he's looking kind of like confusedly, but clearly wants to make the money he's been offered, and turns and looks at you and says, "Are you friends with the changeling?"
Yes, that's what I was trying to tell you. What did he pay you? In fact, don't worry about it. I'll just reach into my purse and give him, like, I guess, like a couple of shillings or something like that.
He kind of takes the shillings quite happily, and kind of looks up at the innkeeper, who looks very confused by this entire exchange now, because it basically appears like you paid a goblin to punch you in the junk. And the goblin just kind of looks down at the couple of shillings in his hand and looks up and says, You and your friends are very odd, mister," and just kind of dashes out of the front of the wing ladle.
I will just return to my seat and collapse. And
Good job. Job well done.
Well, hey, in a way, it was. It wasn't well done. The job was done
perfectly.
The job was done, but not very well.
I don't know. I think our audience would beg to differ that this was the best way in which they wanted to see it done. I mean, that does lead to another kind of ongoing Simbrew sort of meme, which I feel is something that in almost every campaign there's a player / character who can't roll successes to fucking save their life. And in our campaign, that was Mike / Anton. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Perpetually, it was shocking.
It was defied all laws of probability.
Mm-hmm. I had to double check something, just because it was punch in the nuts is very unmat-like, but I remembered there was a reason for it. It was because literally like the week before, we'd been talking about a specific canon Simbaroom ability called Cheap Shot. So a goblin nut punch is literally canon.
Yeah, it's called like a goblin shot or something like that. Is literally
the goblin squeeze.
The goblin squeeze is a groin kick. Yeah, which kind of makes sense. You know, they're at that level, right? So, what you gonna go for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was why.
Am I right in remembering? Was it in the Thrill of the Hunt that Anton defeated a terrifying wolf by hitting it in the nuts?
Yes, the pedant in me insists that it is Fever of the Hunt, but
Fever of the Hunt. Thank you.
Yes, he did. He got the final shot on one of the mini bosses. He did that a few times. Like occasionally, he would hit surprisingly hard. And let's not forget, also he had a couple of incredibly overpowered mystical powers. If he got them off, a couple of times would literally just wipe an entire enemy group, while simultaneously healing the entire party.
Yeah.
So he did okay. It's just, he was just fighting. Anton did fine. Anton was just fighting Mike the entire time.
Anton was pretty cool. Do you remember when he walked into the fire? That was crazy.
Do you remember when he burned himself to make himself pure?
Yeah, and you remember how it didn't work
because of Mike.
I think it basically. I think it was something like you heal 1d10 of permanent corruption, and he healed 1 or something by throwing himself in a bonfire. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Anyway, we could talk about Simbaroom forever, but there are many other systems and videos that we have recorded. I thought it's probably nice to jump onto another serious and one of possibly the second biggest thing that we've done on the channel overall, if you add up all of the Call of Cthulhu, certainly. Johnny's Call of Cthulhu. Sadly, he couldn't be joining us tonight, but numbers of the players. No, has it just been us 3? I'm trying to think anyone else has been on Call of Cthulhu.
4.
Yeah, it's just been us 3. 4. Yes, sorry, 4.
Yeah, it's
Technically
Steve,
5.
John, Sam, Justin, right?
Goodness
Technically
me.
5 because Matt was the stage manager in the first
That's
season.
true.
Yeah,
Matt was
stream
as well.
manager
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
first
yeah.
series as well.
Apologies. Yeah, Call of Cthulhu. Johnny has always loved his dark, creepy, folk horror-y certainly as well. And we have done numerous different Call of Cthulhu series. We started with the what's the name for when you have 3 things in a row, 3 series in a row?
Trilogy?
Part of one story. Trilogy, thank you. We started with the trilogy of Johnny's own writing. It was really good. Don't know what you guys think. I think it was really good.
I think it was really good.
Please, someone completely disagree. That would set an amazing tone for this video.
Well, it's been such a long time. I can't even remember what the trilogy was about, but I think it was. I'm sure it was still good. Like, you know, but I've got massive brain. Why don't you remind me of what happened in that trilogy, Sam?
I'm not actually sure Justin was in. I'm not actually sure
Really?
Justin was in the original.
Well, that's probably why I don't remember it.
That would be it.
Yeah. I think I was thinking of the original ones when I was trying to remember, and that's why. I have some excuse.
And one thing to mention before you go on to talk more in depth about it, because I did stream manage the first series or so, but I can't really remember it that well, and obviously I haven't taken part, so I just kind of get secondhand stuff. But it's worth noting that that brought 2 new Telling Tales crew members, right? Other Matt and Inga for the first time into Call of Cthulhu.
It
right?
also brought Jack.
Jack
Yeah, Jack
as well. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
And Sky, very briefly.
That's good. Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
Swathe of people.
Indeed. It was a trilogy. Obviously, all of the stories were connected. Characters kind of flowed in and out of the story. The 3 episodes of the trilogy, and the ending was really rather dramatic. I know it's jumping right to the end, but personally, while I don't remember all of the beats of the story, there's a couple of moments that stand out. Maybe we can talk about the circus bit as well. But the ending of the 3rd arc, when we basically directly confronted Nyarlathotep, and sort of didn't entirely lose. I mean, these things are always open. But most importantly, we didn't lose in a I don't want to say a moral sense. We kind of won the conversation, which was the coolest part, because we pissed him off. Steve did a great job role playing versus Nyarlathotep, and it's one of my favorite Telling Tales moments. Looking back,
yeah, the thing with that. So I was Fingask. No, hang on. Yes, so I started with the 2nd series. The 3rd one was Balamor. So I was pretty new to this whole, streaming role playing. And what I didn't want to happen was to end up generally, like on my own, leading the thing, being reliant on being able to say words in order, because sometimes, it doesn't quite work out. And lo and behold, the ending of the 3rd season, everybody else was pretty much incapacitated. I think Inga's character was hidden behind the cottage, trying to stay safe. And I just had to play for time with a god, which was great fun. That went. It was incredibly memorable. Yeah, that's one of my favorite moments too.
I can't remember. Did your character know who he was talking to from the beginning?
Well, at the end of the 2nd series, I looked through a lens because obviously this is the thing you do with any weird eldritch being, is to find a mystic lens and look through it to see their true nature. So I was, end of the 2nd series, I was blasted with the knowledge of who the ringmaster actually was, saw thousands of different forms. So yes, I was a bit more prepared for that.
I think if there's a light, then he definitely knocks.
Okay.
And maybe just kind of, trying to sound kind of a bit perturbed, kind of shouting, "Hello, is anyone in there?"
You hear the scrape of a chair on the floor, and then, please come in. Come in. It's cold.
Johnny, while that brief conversation there was going on before, what first, does the powder have any odor, and is it obvious once thrown? As in, is it bright and colorful, or would you not notice it?
It does not have any odor. If somebody didn't see you go, nah, and you didn't throw like a bucket full, somebody might think it was sort of something had shaken some dust from the ceiling or something. It could quite easily be that kind. They would probably see something, but it would be like when dust falls in front of a lamp or whatever.
In that case, I will take as little as I possibly can in my hand while kind of behind him a little bit while they're having their conversation, looking around the room, and then sneeze very loudly, vaguely in his direction, throwing a little bit at him at the same moment, and watching very closely just to see if anything looks odd about him at all.
Okay, can you both make me sanity rolls, please? Jemima is on the floor and Dane is frozen in place. William Smith stands up from his chair and walks to the door and opens it, and kind of runs out in a straight line in front of the bothy and starts shouting, "Help! I'm not sure where you are, but your friends, something's happened in here. Please, one of them's attacked the other. Please help."
I guess I would silently gesture towards the bothy and then, like questioning, gesture away.
I don't know. I think Eliza is frozen for a few seconds.
And I guess I will slowly walk around to the front.
So he turns as you come around the front of the bothy and says, "Oh, thank goodness. Are you with the professor and the young man?" He attacked her. Look, you can see through the windows. He's just standing there.
I'm just staring at him, I think. I'm just staring at him.
Okay. Please, look, you can see what's happened.
You're Mr. Smith, I take it.
Yes, how did you know that?
Oh, I don't know. Perhaps we've met before?
I don't think so. Oh, yes. Yes, I remember you. Do you want to come in?
Are we going to have a chat?
Probably best. You've done well, actually. You've done very well.
It doesn't really look like it. But, well, since I'm here. After you.
Oh, of course. Very well. He wanders in and takes you into the room where you see Jemima lying on the floor, looking relatively unharmed, and Dane just staring in one direction.
So where do we go from here, Mr. Mills? Or do you have a preferred name?
I'll come back to you on that one, I think. Where do we go from here? I mean, I would suggest that you get out any questions that you have now.
Don't you... If Azathoth wakes, doesn't that cause problems for you too?
Somebody's been reading.
Oh, well. I like to stay informed.
No, that would not cause a problem for me. I think you underestimate me, Mr. Carter. I am the crawling chaos. And if I choose to end all things, then they will end.
Wouldn't that be overstepping your mark?
I'm becoming bored.
Why do you write books about fairies?
Oh, did you miss? No, that book came out 29 years ago, I believe.
Has he turned around?
Yes.
Can I stab him in the back with a knife?
You can certainly have a go.
Eliza's eyes are on that book. I think, like, as soon as she saw the movement of Edmund going for the stab, she'd have been trying to jump up to make a desperate grab at it, even if it meant snatching it out of his hands.
I think he's just going to throw himself at whatever he sees as the ringmaster in literally just like a shoulder barge. Like, that's it. That's all he's got.
Okay. Yeah, he kind of shoves into the desk. The grip gives a little. Eliza feels the book come into her belonging. Jemima says the last word. This figure looks down. Eyes grow wide, and there is a swelling light that engulfs everything.
It's worth saying, I think, I can't remember what the first arc was called now.
Darkwood?
Thank you. Darkwood gave us the almost, I think say it was a meme of Cthulhu of never get on a train to anywhere because it will break down part way. And you'll be stuck.
Was it also Darkwood? Which one was it with the vase?
That was Fingask.
Which is like the ultimate chicken in a cage for the channel, right?
It was, oh my God. It was, if we want to talk about memes, it was just like they're following the owner of this house and he goes around the corner of a hallway and they follow him and he's gone. And in the hallway, all there is a table with a vase of winter wildflowers on it. And they spend an entire hour investigating this vase and looking around it and trying to figure out what's going on. And then eventually they find the MacGuffin. But Johnny was talking to us afterwards and he was like, my notes for the session are, well, first the players go outside. And that's the thing that they did 10 minutes from the end of the episode. It was just,
I think one of the things that got us was the wildflowers. Because Johnny just said wildflowers, and they were like, but it's winter. And then we were just super obsessed with how shady that was.
There are so many wildflowers in winter.
There are so many but it's a perfect example.
In Scotland.
It's a perfect example of players latching on to something erroneously through their own error or the GM's natural error, as the GM is desperately trying to stay coherent throughout the entire thing, and then just glomming onto that. And but it's that real interesting difference between me and Johnny, because I was fascinated when I started watching some of Johnny's stuff, because I was like, oh, he kind of out-me's me. Because he's so he lets everything breathe so fucking much. And it was just so interesting that we have very different approaches to that specific moment, right? And I think they're both perfectly valid. I would not have the patience for his, but I think it's just as valid as mine. Of he lets it breathe so much that it doesn't just become a waste of time. It becomes like part of the flow of the narrative, right? And he's like, oh, where can I add little like narrative bits and pieces or link things through, or just like you characterize through this. Whereas my attitude towards the chicken in the cage experience after 30 years is I have no patience for it, and I will literally step outside of character and just go, I just want to tell you this vase is nothing, so that we can move on. And I think both are 100% valid, but it's just such an interesting, given how relatively similar we are in other ways, it's such an interesting opposite approach thing.
I think the best demonstration of Johnny's technique with that was jumping ahead to a different game. Is Faison? Just like we were just in the middle of a completely different plot. We were off to go and save some people, and then as a part of it, we stopped off in a hotel. And Johnny forgot what accent the hotel manager was supposed to have, so she came out sounding really weird, and we were like, "There's something going on here." And then there was completely improvised.
He made something go on there. It was a really good little plot with the like sounds in the that was really good. Vezin was actually really good. I think we all really enjoyed Vezin, and actually what was so fun about that was our characters were quite different, and we kind of disagreed, and we wanted to approach things differently, and it often put us kind of at loggerheads a bit. It was kind of they were a little bit caricature-y, I thought, but in kind of a good way and not a silly way.
But I think with doing a Victorian setting, you like it is caricature-y. Like it is a bit it's a bit Sherlock Holmesy. It's a bit fake history kind of anachronistic weirdness.
It's also supported by the game system itself, which gives you the characters end up with strong drives. You kind of have you have drives that you're supposed to follow. So that kind of pushes that element forward as well.
Exactly, and I love how, and I think we'll all agree that we really want to return to Vezin because it's given us that key for our character that's very slowly becoming uncovered. Because all of our characters, the lore in Vezin is that your characters can see mystical creatures because they've been through some trauma. Basically, they've had some terrible thing occur, in due some part to a mythical creature, and that allows them now to interact with that world, or at least see that world. And that's kind of, we don't really know each other's stories much yet. We're getting little inklings of them, and we're kind of finding out that maybe we're connected. And that's such a fun thing to roleplay. And it really suits Johnny's slow burn style as well, of like the story very slowly unraveling in a direction. Yeah. Go on, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't agreed this, but like, I think for me, the plot line around the sea monster in the London sewers was like the most crazy part of the entire Vezin series, and that from start to finish felt like a just absolute insanity. And the fact that we thought it would be a good idea to go into the sewers underneath London with large amounts of explosives and half a plan.
We didn't all think that.
Well,
that's some of the character.
Old wounds are reopening.
Yeah, it was that was definitely a thing. I mean, I think I very often feel with Johnny's games that I don't see any positive way out. Like I feel that sometimes lots of GMs build you a golden bridge to retreat over. And I think that's part of it. I often feel like in Johnny's games, I'm grasping at like handles to doors that they're just fake doors. They're just real fake doors, and I'm just twisted like, what the fuck? This surely cannot be the way forward.
It's perfect horror. Even we as players are horrified because we feel like there's no way out narratively.
I feel like that's the thing we're especially feeling at the moment in Masks of Nyarlathotep, because we keep being dropped these like lore bits, and then we go and investigate these lore bits, and there's more stuff, but none of it has anything to do with what we're currently dealing with. And so it's just like, it's sort of expanding, but not answering anything. And you're just sort of, loosely starting to grasp at this wide web of things that you have no control over.
Its first 2 series of losting on you.
Yes.
It's a glorious experience, but inside you're like, oh my god, I hope this sticks the landing.
Yes.
I think, yes. So Masks is, we other than Symbaroum, like, we haven't really played any massive campaigns, especially the Monday Night Crew. So Masks is very different in that regard. Given that Johnny's first series were all 8 episodes long, Masks is very different, and it's interesting to be able to have space to grow characters. That was another nice thing about Versen is that the characters started, development arcs. So it's nice to see that, but it's quite a big step up.
It is, yeah. I was, to a certain extent, I was thinking we'll leave most of Massalastab because it's currently ongoing. It feels like it's not in the past at all. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of that one. There's so much. There is literally so much more to go.
How long were you recording it for, though? Like a while.
Yeah.
We're on episode 28.
Yeah, it's going to be like.
Yeah, didn't Masks start? Masks started before Yellow King, I think. So
yeah,
a while. 20 episodes is almost longer than most of the things on the channel already.
True. Yeah, I thought it would be nice to touch on a few of our one-shots now, just because we've done so many different one-shots over the years. A few less recently, just because one-shots are hard to organize. But I think possibly some of our favorite moments, various players will agree, have been in different one-shots. So I'm going to kick us off with Troika, which I think is probably one of the best loved, best remembered one-shots of all time. Is it? I think it might be our most viewed thing. Am I remembering that correctly?
It's up there.
Yeah,
it's up
and
there. I think I'd have to recheck, which I did do before this. I probably should have done. But generally speaking, the top 5 or so is generally always the first episode of the Symbaroum campaign, which I'd also give a wee shout out to because I'm actually really proud of that one. The first Morkborg one shot, the first Troika one shot, the Cyborg one shot, which rocketed. I still don't know why, and something else. I think literally the second episode of the Symbaroum.
I think it's into the odd.
Yeah, I think it's like second Symbaroum. I think
into the odd did do well. Yeah,
and the One Ring is in the top.
The first One Ring one. Yeah, generally whenever we did a multi one shot, the first one, and then no one cared about the second one. But
don't think about it too much.
I mean, Troika is also worth mentioning for an entire other reason. But let's go with your stuff first, Sam.
Well, it's worth just saying Troika is one I feel like we're all close to, and we did make a mini setting for Troika, which is available online. So
we kickstarted it on Drive Through RPG. Go look at it.
Exactly.
If you have extremely specific tastes in RPG settings,
do you want to give a brief blurb for it?
Sure. It's a setting of a planet-sized pillow fort, basically. Not just pillows, but like a sort of weird ecology, biome, horror, whimsical weirdness. So Troika, really, of a pillow fort and everything that lives in there, from weird cushion monsters through to scissor-obsessed inquisitorial fanatics.
Indeed. And go check it out. It's really fun. We did a little stream of that as well, one shot in Troika of that, which was also super fun. And a lot of the channel members here and other folks contributed to it, and we had a really fun time working on it as well. So, but yeah, original Troika, one of the first one shots we did, and it was so much fun. I remember multiple fun scenes of that. The in the lift with there's no air in here. Some of us don't need to breathe. I have multiple gas masks, but you have to buy them. The insurance selling creature.
No, sure. It was a multi-level. It was like a multi-level pyramid scheme thing, like a sort of Lovecraftian being that just
unfolded
until it was just eyes and geometry, and then tried to sell you into a pyramid scheme.
So good. So good.
As you walk forward, Oslab in the lead, perhaps desperate, obviously, to see the mandrill again. You walk forward, and as you do so, the individual turns and faces you, and your eyes seem to spin in your sockets as you attempt to comprehend what you see. This individual is composed of many angles, some acute, some obtuse, some entirely objectionable. Thousands of eyes spin among the angles of every color imaginable and hypnotically rotating in an endless golden void. A soft voice reaches out to you from deep within the indescribable beauty and horror and says in a tone of terrifying clarity, "My children, I am sorry to impose upon you on your travels in this realm of confusion and mortal danger, but I was wondering, have any of you ever wanted to be your own boss?"
I am my own boss, and everyone else's. No, thank you.
Is anyone else giving any kind of response?
A pyramid scheme. From a pyramid being, I assume.
I mean, it sounds beguiling.
I'm glad you think so, my child. I have in my possession a near infinite number of skybound crystal spheres that I would be glad to dispose of you for a minimum amount, and that you can then sell onwards for tremendous profit. My cut would merely be modest.
Carrot?
Yes.
Oh wait, is it Carrot who is considering this?
It is indeed Carrot
I
who
just wanna
seems to
make
be
sure.
considering it.
Carrot, I've heard of things like this.
Have
you?
you?
Might not want to get involved.
Is there a catch? What's the?
I think it's safe to say that Carrick is the only one who seems to be immediately struck by this being's pitch, and therefore, could you test your luck for me, please?
Okay. Now then, I have to roll under.
Correct, equal
my
to
luck.
or under to your luck.
To or under. That's fine. I do. My luck is 11. Believe it or not.
You
And I rolled it, and
you luckily choose to believe your new companion's conviction that this is not something you should become engaged with. Is anyone else in any way engaging with this being? Obviously, it's quite difficult to walk past it without looking at it because it's a being of truly cosmic awe. But is anyone else going to engage with the obvious pyramid scheme sales pitch?
I'll just.
Lark's going to close his eyes and walk past.
I'm not really going to look very hard, but I might give it a little poke. See what happens.
Lark might speed up.
I mean, I'm not sure there's anything particularly physical there to poke, and your arm would
That's what I was
presumably
wondering.
sink into an endless golden void. The being looks somewhat affronted by this and says, "My child, you merely had to say you weren't interested."
Oh, no offense. I was just curious. Apologies. And I walk on.
I don't know if other people have moments that stick in their mind from that.
The bit that always plays in my head is Sam played a Lamassu, which is the body of a bull, the head of a human, the wings of a swan, and the tail of a scorpion.
Something like that.
Is that something like that? But his first interaction is him talking to Jack's character. Because Sam's things that he's been going around exploring, like trying to looking for things like him, and like investigating swans because of the swan wings, and now he's investigating humans because of the human head. And Jack says something about him having a human head, and Sam's like, "Well, how do you know you don't have a Lamassu head?" It's like
it was a good It was also just a good interaction between them because Sam was playing this incredibly arrogant godlike creature from beyond the stars, and Jack was basically playing a kind of Pratchett-esque trainee assassin from a humble background. And there's just this real. I also really liked Sky's role play in that, playing are they called a parchment witch?
Yeah.
Where basically they're like a weird skinned sentient creature desperately trying to not have other people discover that they're covered in cured other people's skin. And just the desperate wheeling she did to try and not get wet at any stage. And it was just It was funny. It was good.
At one point, she tried to buy one of Steve's monkeys, and I think Steve roleplayed the sort of, I don't think I should sell you my monkeys.
I had a crisis at that point, because so one of the problems that I have myself when role playing is I find it very, very easy to get trapped by questions that I really shouldn't need to bother answering accurately. And my immediate the roadblock that cropped up in my brain then was, how much is a monkey worth? So that's why I stumbled there.
Oh god,
Steve, who among us has not struggled with that question?
I feel like we've got another merch line right there. You could put that straight on a t-shirt. You know,
What is
two
a monkey
tapirs
worth?
put together? How much is a monkey worth?
How much is a monkey worth? Yeah.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, the Troika series is a good one. I think if we're talking one shots, unless anyone else wants to carry on talking about Troika, I don't know if anyone. I suppose I should mention my earnest Matt Berry impressions of various quality with the ongoing NPC in there. Open Astrificans, the mathemologist. But there's a couple of things I want to mention from some fairly early one shots, I think. One is I'd like to give a shout out to One Ring, just because I love it, but also like it's sort of the first time I've tried to adapt something else into a role-playing game, like a story from an MMO. And I think that went pretty well. I'd also like to highlight something which wonderfully will come pre-clipped because it's something we already really enjoyed. But generally, I think the two Morkborg one-shots are some of our best stuff. It really plays into our style. That kind of like what they call it, doom metal role-playing game. But there is one scene, despite it being the grimmest, darkest of fantasies, there is one scene that is the funniest role-playing moment I've ever experienced in my life, to the point where I ran it and was there, and I still regularly go back to the clip to watch it, to try and bleed some dopamine out of my fried brain. And it's from the second one-shot. And I'm sure it will be on screen for you all momentarily anyway. Pierre's character, a very stupid mercenary, a very idiotic, brutal cretin of a mercenary, has secured for himself as both nourishment and tools a bag of rats. And he has decided that he's going to poison some needles, attach them to the rats, and use them, as John says in the video, like a rumba with a knife taped to it. And the slow realization that once he's put a poison needle on the rat, he has nowhere else to put it but back in the bag of writhing rats. It's beautiful. And just like the
way it plays out,
he rolls to see if his character will realize that this will inevitably poison the rats. He doesn't succeed, and just like it's just one of those moments where like John loses his shit. John is falling off his chair, and it's just like it's almost completely contrary to the game that we're playing.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so fucking funny, man.
It's the
funniest moment I've ever had in a role-playing game.
It's what enhances it so much, other than just the magic of Pierre playing the character. That's such an idiot. Is the fact that he pre-named the rats. So we have like names to come out as it's happening.
Yeah.
Matt, didn't you
smart ass that had the needle?
Didn't like pre-game? Didn't you get him to? Because there was arrangement beforehand for. I don't know whether did he come up with the.
I told him he had to name
or?
them. I told him he had to name them.
That was genius. That was
because I was like, this is a kind of a silly thing to do in Morkborg, but I thought if he names them, he'll at least feel bad, about their inevitable fate. And then my solution to the whole thing was that he had to roll I can't remember what he rolled, like a D6 or something like that.
Mhm.
And he got a result of 4. And I was like, okay, so the next 4 times you open the bag, you have to roll on your rat table, and that rat will be dead.
Mhm.
Sort of thing. Which I think is the moment that finally destroyed John. But for a weird coherence, considering it was a one shot, that later on would have a moment of description of kind of the fate of this unpleasant noblewoman they'd been following, that I described evidently pretty well, since it made multiple people wince and look a little bit ill. But again, we'll get to Yellow King later.
No, we will. We will.
I think my favorite thing about the rats was that it wasn't, because your characters start with some items, but because this was the second session, we just earned some gold from the first episode, and we were like, well, what are we going to spend it on? And I think I don't even remember what I spent it on, but the book has it doesn't have the price of monkeys, but it does have the price of rat.
Yeah.
And Pierre was just like, I could buy 6 rats and a bag.
And some poison.
And some poison.
Mhm.
So that's
All
what
the
I'm
money.
spending my money on.
Yep. Money well spent. Narratively, not, logistically. Yeah.
I mean, if we're around here for any sort of length of time, I might, reach into my sack full of rats and start tying needles to some of the rats.
Sure. Absolutely. Why not?
Got me prepared. Okay.
Sure.
Torval, what are you doing?
Mind your business.
I think I'm definitely going to need like an agility roll for that.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay.
And I'd say it's a DR 14.
Perfect.
Like, you're definitely stronger than the rats, but they got. You wanted good quality rats. They got a lot of wriggle on them.
They do have. These are fine. These are healthy rats. I sampled one of them before I came. I rolled a 13 plus 1 is exactly a 14.
Could you randomly generate which of your rats it is as well? Because Pierre has a list of rat names.
Okay. I need to roll a D9. All right. D9 rolling. It was number 2. Smartass. Smartass got the needle.
Seems a good bet. Okay, you have Smartass. You have a beneedled rat. What are you doing with the beneedled rat?
I was going to dip the needle. Shit, I should have thought of this before I started.
No. It can be the poisoned needle. I understand the principle, but what are you doing with the rat?
I just have
now
a
that you've got a
Torval
poisoned
going.
needle on it.
Oh shit! Having put the rat on, wriggling around trying to get the poison.
I get what no. Understand me, Pierre. When you said earlier today, I have bought rats and poison and needles. I very much understood the base principle of what you were doing with it. But what I suppose is lacking in my knowledge is how then you propose to get said rat to apply its poisoned needle onto an opponent of some kind, given that you have, and it's worth reinforcing, no ability to communicate, influence, or train these rats whatsoever.
You're basically going for the knife taped on a Roomba technique here.
Look, I trust Smartass. He was the smartest of the rats.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, look, I need to prepare this rat for later use. This is Chekhov's rat. Okay.
So is the rat with the poison needle on it now going back into the bag of rats?
Yes, the rat. I believe.
Yeah.
Oh no! Wait, the poison needle is gonna hit the other rats. Okay, I'll carry that
Is
rat.
Torval capable of that leap? If you say he is, I will believe you. But I just want to know.
Okay, I'm going to roll presence at DR12 to establish whether Torval can piece together that it's a bad idea to put a rat with a poison needle in with the other rats.
Sure.
If Torval gets a 1,
oh, no,
is
he
Torval
did
just
not
going to
roll
kill
enough.
himself?
He puts it back in.
Back in it goes. Okay. This poison, I believe, is listed under equipment
It's
and
a
it has a
blinding
damage.
poison.
It has a damage thing, right?
It does have a damage thing.
And what is the damage thing?
The damage thing is, I believe it's a D6.
D6. Okay, can you roll
so
a
it's-
D6 for me, please? Is it the black
Oh,
poison?
Yeah,
Or
it's
the
black
red
poison. Toughness DR14 or
Yeah,
D6
no, that's
damage.
fine. It's a D6 damage, though, right? Can you roll D6
Yeah.
for me, please?
Yeah, I rolled a
How
4.
much health do rats have?
Not very much health.
So what I would like you to do is every time you open the bag of rats, the next 4 times you open the bag of rats, another rat will be dead, and I would like you to roll the name of that rat every time. Every time that happens, is that okay?
Yeah, that is okay.
Smartass is fine. Smartass will not be
safe.
dead. So,
God damn it!
Congratulations, Torvald. You've succeeded at torturing a bag of rats.
Oh,
this is such a good plan.
Okay, moving on from this misadventure, I take it we're leaving the John's done. John's gone for the session.
So most of the rats.
I take it we are. John actually looks like he's dying. I take it we're leaving the wine cellar.
Yes.
Yes. After a long period, just staring at Torval.
I'm going to steal a bottle of wine.
Well, speaking of one shots, I thought it was mentioned we should bring up Pierre's Dungeon World actually as well. I think did you do 2 Dungeon World one shots, or was it just the one? There were 2. Yeah, I'm misremembering. Yeah, they were fun.
They were fun.
So Holly, you're
on mute, I think.
Oh, there's no noise from you. No.
Oh no! Do you have a secret?
No.
I hope Holly hasn't been talking this whole time.
Speak about Dungeon World.
Yeah, Dungeon World. First session, we built the world and our characters. I think it was me, Holly, and Chris. It was a ridiculous group of characters. There was no forethought about how we would interact. So we all came into it with completely different ideas, and they all worked together. I think Chris played some sort of bard. Holly played a drug-addled wizard. Let me just... Hello? No.
What? There is no sound. This was specifically the bit that Holly recommended we should put in.
How about now? How about now? There we go.
Yes.
StreamYard choosing the wrong microphone.
Yeah, Holly was like a drug-addled wizard
Stephen, sorry?
who was...
Oh, do we want to swap positions back just for... Sorry.
Oh, God.
Oh, for continuity, yeah, if you want to
we can
swap
also
me and
cut
Steve.
this back to where we were. I shouldn't say now we have to, but...
He was like a forever student, right?
Are we talking about my wizards? The Hawaiian shirt wizards? Yeah. So stupid.
It was great.
My favorite bit about that was because we were doing part of the character creation recorded. It meant that a lot of the bits were kind of quite organic. Like when I got my bag of books, where I just went, okay, yeah, but he's an idiot, so he doesn't actually know how to use any of them. Which led to one of my favorite moments later on, which is, no, I don't know how to use this book. I'll throw the book at them in the hope that it does something. And it did. And that was so stupid, but it was fantastic.
And your salamander was very funny.
Mine was a salamander who was like a cultist of the light.
Yeah.
Because they'd been born in a box of mirrors and had never known their own shadow. And then the box of mirrors broke because they were born in like the trash heap of the magical university or whatever. So now they were just like obsessively dedicated to the light and eradicating darkness of all its forms. All its forms, up to and including just setting fire to everything because they were immune to fire.
And it was that wonderful combo of like a character that's lovely and naive and sweet and kind of really adorable, but will murder horribly and cause horrific burning.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I think the characterization that we got in the Dungeon World one shot was really special. I think partly because of how organic it was, and then also because Pierre's an amazing GM when it comes to especially improv.
Yes.
Which Dungeon World is so heavy on. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
I think I was going to say it's not on our list, but I also like to give a shout out to Absurdia. Which I can't remember. Were you in? Who was in that? Justin was in that. Were you in that, Holly?
No, I'd done a couple before that, but I wasn't in that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, it was.
I'm trying to see if I got my character sheet for it somewhere.
Welcome to Night Vale, the role-playing game.
Yes.
Welcome to Night Vale through a Pratchett-ish lens, the role-playing game. It was very weird, but it was again the sort of improv. Slightly, it seems like they're pulling things from absolute nowhere, but then things still end up having a narrative and a straight through line, and everything fits together, which is a particular skill that GMs have that I can never comprehend.
It relies heavily on the fact that humans can find patterns in anything.
That's true.
Yeah, I thought we've got lots of other one-shots. We'll get to a few different points on this, but I think maybe it would be nice to go back to a few more of our series, our shorter series as well. So just in the order I've got here, Blades in the Dark was something that, am I right in thinking this was done as a break, or was this after?
No. Blades in the Dark was. Let me get this right. I think Blades in the Dark essentially replaced our first Vampire the Masquerade series. Is that right? Yeah. And it had a similar cast to that. Neil didn't come along for it, but it was Justin, Pierre, John, other Sam. And I think that was the original, just the starting lineup. And then we had a few guest appearances from Chris and...
Steve joined, didn't he?
I did appear for one.
Yeah. I think Chris appeared for like one or two. Yeah, it was one of the ones we had we had a couple of things early on in the channel that we intended to turn into longer form series that didn't really work out because people, for whatever reason, just weren't really watching them. The first one of those was Vampire the Masquerade. The 5th edition one, not Cincinnati Chronicles. And then the second one, the one that replaced it, was Blades in the Dark, which also it did better than Vampire, but it just wasn't really clicking with people. I honestly can barely remember anything about Blades in the Dark.
That's so disappointing because it was really good.
It was good.
Really
I
good.
remember liking it.
I loved it, and I mean, one of the things that I like most about the settings that we gave good goes to, that includes Vampire the Masquerade, is that we chose settings. We often chose settings that had really good character creation type things, or created really interesting characters, and I mean, I really enjoy the Blade system. I think some people don't find it very intuitive or very enjoyable to play with the weird, mostly improvised way of playing. But I really like it, and I think I'm glad that it's got recognition now, and that there's lots of these hacks of Blades that do interesting things, and lots of the things like clocks have become much more normal in other games.
Yeah, true.
But the game was good. I mean, like the setting's really fun, and I very much liked the very flawed characters that we were encouraged to create. I really enjoyed a lot of my characters' things, including when because we were running a gang, we had to punish our gang stepping out of line, and Matt made me beat a small. Like a young teenager who'd stepped out of line physically in a pub. We went in and just beat the shit out of him because he'd stepped out of line. And I was like, this is really good. This is really good. This is the dark, gritty underbelly.
This is the Matt shit I live for. He's making me do something that makes me as a player feel
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. and like, you know, I played a character that had quite heavy like drug dependencies. I was like, these are all really fun. This is really fun themes. I can't believe I can't believe more people are watching us beat up children.
Speaking of dark themes, I have fond memories of Sam's awful vice of spending money on like plush clothing and like
and
lovely
tobacco and
furnishings.
things. That was great.
I found that so funny. I remember him going.
Well, basically,
into,
had like a
curtains or
curtain
something.
addiction.
Yeah.
Yes.
So funny.
That was really good.
The thing that I remember and really loved about Blades in the Dark, it like just how much Justin's character, not because of anyone else's actions, through his own terrible actions getting hurt. Like I remember your ferret biting you. I remember you like catching yourself on loose nails.
This does feed into an ongoing narrative of Justin in my games, which Justin did bring up
Which
in
is
the
fair.
list of things for this. And there are various points at which I will hold my hands up to it, and various points at which I'm like, that's the dice. I can't account for this. And Blades in the Dark was I honestly can't remember how mistreated you were in that. I do remember that it fed into the first. Your characters had very bad luck in the Alien one shot, and that was entirely dice. That was entirely dice. It's literally random, and anyone who's played Alien will know. Like, you could just go, "I'm dead."
The
which
Alien
is a great part of the system.
I think what was good about Blades in the Dark is that it allowed you to trade between things like success and damage. So you could worsen your situation and do better, and vice versa. You could do things like that, and obviously, you know, and you were encouraged to take risks, and then maybe count on rolling to mitigate some of the impact of those risks later. So that's quite a good mechanic that encourages players to be risky, and I love risks. You know, like I will gladly risk large amounts of my character's life and sanity. Well, less careful about sanity normally, but life certainly, for the chance to maybe succeed at something. So that definitely made things worse. And you enjoyed, I think you enjoy it, Matt, like, because, you know, you're like, oh yeah, we got a good description here of some horrible, horrific thing.
Oh yeah, I don't enjoy that it's specifically you.
No,
I
well, sure,
I
you
do
say.
enjoy it. Yeah, I do enjoy it. Yeah. Depending on the thing, I don't want to see like I don't want to. If I'm running Simbaroom, I don't want to be like, I get to kill one of the. I wouldn't do that because it's a long running campaign. But something like Blades in the Dark, where you're playing awful people.
Yes,
like it becomes more of a joy to have you hoist by your own petard.
I think my character ended that either being imprisoned or going away, like having to disappear for a long, like a 6-week period or something from something, exiled or something like that. Then we stopped playing.
It ended on as many of our abbreviated campaigns have, it ended on a big cliffhanger that was never ended up being resolved. Because I believe that campaign ended on the thing of like it's not called a ghost fence, was it lightning wall or something like that around the city dropping, and like suddenly the city's entirely exposed to like the hordes of ghosts that dwell outside in the in kind of these dark wastes. But we'll never know, probably.
Fun times. Speaking of fun times, we mentioned Alien there, which is sort of a series, sort of one shots. It was a 3 one-shot thing. That was all bespoke, written by you, Matt, wasn't it?
Yeah. I feel like, I think I said this. I said this at some point in the not too distant past, but I feel like sometimes like my GMing's a bit misrepresented by the channel because I run an awful lot of pre-written stuff on the channel, and outside of the channel, I've almost never run pre-written material. It's almost always mine. But yeah, the Alien was original.
Yeah. That's really good. And Justin, you're speaking of your horrible, horrific.
Well, I mean, we'll play the clip. Check in the comment. Right again in the comments. But no, I really do like Alien. Alien's always my go-to example of how gaming creation for a certain time went through a phase of stopping trying to do systems that could cover any situation, and instead tried to focus on creating systems that reflect a very strong theme. And the things is Alien Cubicle 7. I forget. Was that?
No, it's Free League.
Free League, yeah. Well, and Cubicle 7 was doing this with the One Ring, and then Free League took on the One Ring, and lots of Free League games are like that. But how you can use relatively simple mechanics, but alter them slightly to evoke certain feelings and write rules in such a way that you can evoke certain feelings. And obviously, Matt's the story and the way it was told very much lent itself to feeling like you're in an alien movie. But that game is just such that it also creates that drama and provides a rule set that allows you to create that drama very easily, and that includes knocking off players very, very easily.
Yeah. Pause up just a second there. I just want to have a quick one. Which NPCs are with you now? FM, Fang, Cam. Right. Yeah. So that's
FM, Fam, Kang.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm just making some dice rolls. There's nothing to worry about.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
fine.
sure,
I'll
it's
just get
fine.
the initiative order potentially lined up in case we need it.
It's only ever good things happen when Matt rolls dice.
Some paranoia here.
It wouldn't be
Paranoia
paranoia
if
if they're out to get you.
It wouldn't be a Matt run game unless my character gets royally fecked.
Yeah, about that.
Oh, no.
It's sort of a tradition that we haven't had that's not even appeared on Telling Tales yet.
Yeah. So, how do we do this? I'm going to just following the rules here. Well, first off, I think it's fair to give you an opposed roll to what I'm doing.
Cool.
Before something else happens. So why don't you give me an observation roll?
I roll 1 success, and I probably wouldn't push it because my character isn't actively observing.
Sure, that's very respectable role playing. I'm going to make another roll now. Before I do, Xenofia doesn't have any armor, does she?
Oh, don't believe so.
No.
Xenofia's character arc is now pretty good.
It's good that you think that.
Yeah.
There's
Only
obviously a
character that's
tension
gonna
in the
die
room.
instead.
There's obviously a tension in the room from Jian, like kind of this standoff between Jian and Xenofia. And Jian stands down. Xenofia slings. Can you remember what the last thing you said was?
I holster my pistol, so I might
Well,
have my hand on it still.
What would you say immediately after you do that?
What do you one of my last words?
What do you say immediately after you do that?
Well, probably something like, "Good, we're in agreement then."
Xenofia's skull erupts in a storm of flesh, bone, and blood, and her body crashes to the ground. Behind her, bursting through one of the windows into this dining area, is one of the xenomorphs. Its claws latched onto the kind of the frame of the window. Its tail sort of whipping in the air with grim glee at what it's just done.
It's worth saying, one of my favorite things as a viewer in that was watching Pierre's character in particular, who was just this scary person.
Psychopath, sociopath.
Yeah.
Like
that as that in a group, you're playing as a group with this character, that was such a fun dynamic.
Yeah.
I was watching it to look at what we were to prep this, and at the end of the story, we were talking about my character's death, which we'll see. But and he just said, "Well, if that alien hadn't killed you, I'd have killed you soon after." And I was like, "What?" Actually,
no, because his character also died at the exact same moment because it was like an explosion, right? And like he was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, I was alone with you because I was going to kill you."
I think the explosion was a different one. The one that we're talking about is
alien. Character.
You kill me all the time. That's how
was it a different character who died? It doesn't matter anyway. Justin's character has a very memorable death in the first in the first of the one shots. A very memorable and sudden death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's alien-like, isn't it? That's why that's, as you say, it's evocative. It's
exactly.
why it works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a different GM context, but I thought it'd be nice to mention a bit of the Delta Green as well, which was your dipping toe into series of stuff on the channel, Steve, which I think was really fun, actually. There were some really enjoyable character moments in that, and the ramping up of tension through the whole story kind of. I remember the end of that being quite a shock, actually, after the very normal setting of everything else. So, you have fun with that?
Oh God, yes. Yeah. I'd wanted to run it for ages, run Delta Green for ages.
Yeah.
So it was one of these weird situations where I knew I needed an introductory scenario to bring people and viewers in. Scheduling was a nightmare at that point because we had quite a lot of things on. I'd wanted it, I think, to be roughly the length of a one shot. Actually, no, for the introductory one, I just wanted 2 episodes. And then that kind of flew out of the window. So the basis of the thing was just a really simple sort of tutorial style, go somewhere, get a thing, come out. But one of the main key points of Delta Green is things go wrong. So I really wanted to pull, players have done a great job coming up with wonderful backstory for the characters. And I wanted to kind of pull that in and then reveal it at a critical moment. So yes, the way that particular short series plays out is I was quite pleased with that. I was again, a bit like Johnny, I really enjoyed watching the players and the characters interact. And then yes, I managed to. It wasn't guaranteed that the denouement would kind of play out like that, but I kind of figured that it could well have done. And Johnny's character, yes, went through a bit of a journey.
He did. I think we all went through a bit of a journey, to be fair. Like it was very enjoyable to see the different plays between our characters and how we messed up and we were kind of.
Yeah. I mean, look, you can't be a secret agent if you tell everyone your real name.
No,
minute one.
Critically, no. Justin, he didn't tell everyone his real name. He told everyone your real
my
name.
real name.
He remembered his fake
I'm
identity.
Agent X, and this is Justin. It's just like what I really should have done is try to find a load of moments of Sam and I's characters doing strange things together. But like that, oh my god.
It was perfectly role playing my really heavily adult character, and I'm going to stick with that totally true narrative that it wasn't actually just a mistake, and it was absolutely deliberate. At least it worked for the character because she was a mess.
Yeah. I think.
Go.
Go, you go.
I was going to say, I remember the bit in the shop so fondly with all of us trying to do different things and get each other's way. I think it was your character, John, that was just really interested in opening the books and doing all the things. And we were just like,
no, that was Inga's.
Sorry, that was Inga's character.
Inga, who is basically the Delta Green intern.
Maybe don't do that, Inga.
Yeah, don't read them aloud.
We were trying to manage that. And then Johnny getting phone calls. And we're like, what is going on with this? And like, we're worried about cameras and yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah.
I think we knew we were going to be in for some interesting character interactions when we all sort of like I remember us all gradually logging in and chatting about what character we were introducing to each other, and they were like, yeah, I made my character kind of an asshole. Oh, I made my character kind of an asshole. Oh, my character's a complete asshole.
Yeah.
And then Inga was just there like, oh, I thought my character's quite nice. It was oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, fun times.
It was good fun.
Yes.
I'll probably walk to you and go, yeah, whatever that was, Bradshaw's trouble, it's to do with all our business.
Is it?
Yeah. Someone from...
Some guy on a motorbike just went by.
Oh, Thorn was here then. Huh.
Didn't catch the last Thorn.
Yeah, he said he was on the bike. I must have been it then. Dashed off a few moments ago.
Is that the T on the post-it note?
Probably. Yeah, someone. I think
If
that's
they've
the
been
one.
here already, what are we even doing here?
Oh, it's all part of a bloody test, isn't it?
Unless
But
looking at like a bottle of flammable liquid.
Whatever this is more important than our test because they're gone now.
I mean, did he tell you if you managed to get into the safe in the floor?
I don't bloody know. I wasn't asking about that. I was asking about this. This is some serious.
Do it seriously.
Whatever's going on, something's latching onto people. There's one of them that's still at large, at least one.
At large? What are you talking about?
Look,
like, I don't have time for this to it. I don't have time to it.
Jesus Christ, Conti, what is our job? What is our job, Conti?
To get some books. We'll get some books, and then
for fuck's sake, just you get in the bloody safe. I'm gonna go look in the office.
Excuse me.
Yeah. What?
I know I'm not an agent, but I didn't believe that shouting at each other was a desperately good.
We're doing this very quietly.
DeWitt was not quiet.
Also, like, I don't know when Good didn't see Conti put the balaclava on. So this is.
I think DeWitt just like scrunches a fist together and walks right past you into the office, ignoring you entirely.
Yeah,
parents are having an argument.
Well, the safe is open, I assume.
Yeah, if you've got the code, you can. Yeah.
Mm.
That's fine.
And speaking of, you were mentioning, Steve, how you kind of wanted the introductory section to get you into the full story. I did a very similar thing for Warhammer, which I believe was the first thing I ran on the channel, probably, I think. So Warhammer Fantasy was my big GMing experience. First 2 series of that. Hope to come back to it at some point as well. And I did a very similar thing to you because, like Matt was saying, I very much personally don't get along with pre-written scenarios normally. My normal role play is I write my own thing and I follow that. But because that's quite an intimidating thing to do when streaming, etc., I deliberately went for a pre-written one-shot and then edited it a bit and then used that as a flow into a narrative that was kind of weaved into bits of the one-shot. Which
that worked really well from my point of view. It was a really nice sort of natural start, and then the way things kind of the wheels came off. And the greater story revealed itself was great technique, great trick, really.
Yeah. I know Justin, you mentioned this to me, and others have said a bit as well. The characters were really fun in Warhammer as well. Boniface in particular, ridiculous character you've come up with, who is a servant.
I think the servant has been one of the most enjoyable. I really look forward to taking that game up again and seeing how much of the servant master dynamic is salvageable. And against Steve's will, clearly, Steve is not consenting to any of this. Like this is really forced role play onto him that he has no interest in pursuing whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tricky one. It's being put in a position where you're supposed to be essentially bossing somebody around is a bit tricky. But it did influence the way that my character kind of I ended up creating my character to be kind of slightly separate from the whole sort of my character just wanted to be getting on with stuff. So yes, it's been quite interesting, and yes, I do hope we get back to another series of it, because I think everybody's characters were growing and developing in very interesting ways.
Just from the outside, it's probably worth mentioning the big twist at the heart of the series, right?
Yep. I know, John, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John. From a player perspective, why don't you?
So, from a player perspective, I think it ended up at 13 episodes or so, and we played 12 episodes quite merrily. And then, beginning of the 13th episode, Sam was like, "Oh, just so you know, like, there's going to be another voice joining us," because I was like in charge of the stream admin at that point. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting. Maybe he's going to be playing something through it." And then, like, just about halfway through, another character, like another camera, joins with no camera to it, just the microphone. and they just start occasionally giggling and chittering and muttering to themselves. And that's how we found out that there had secretly been a 5th player the entire time, and that the whole campaign had been secretly PvP, because there had been someone else that Sam had been referring back to at the end of every session saying, so what are you going to do to mess over the players?
Yeah. It's worth saying I did play it. I did not give this player, I'm not going to reveal because it's more fun if I don't reveal. I did not give this player all the information. I gave them the information as if they were playing their Skaven Underlord and all of what they would know based on that. Playing other things, I didn't do all of that, and knowing that your characters were trying to make a mess of this and how they would react, down to the ridiculous scene where you went down to the underneath the docks and they literally left the most silly. It was the note they left you, like
the pit trap. Yeah,
please go down to the docks, and they just dug a pit trap down there for you, hoping you would fall into it.
Which is also a wonderfully Skaven. They're such relatively craven, stupid creatures, but they think that everyone they're against is far stupider than them. So it's like, oh, these humans will just fall into this pit of spikes if I just put it there in front of them. What a master plan I have crafted.
I'm very happy that the player chose to do that.
It's a lovely bit of ludonarrative trickery. I really liked it when you told me about it.
I have long-term plans to do something similar again. It hasn't quite materialized yet, but I'm hoping. I have a kind of vague intention for. I'm not going to reveal everything. I have a vague intention for a big narrative, big bad in the overall Warhammer story that I've planned. We'll see. We'll see where it goes.
That's where we find out Matt's been playing Tzeentch this entire time.
That's why I pull back from the channel. I'm too focused on being the god of trickery.
Don't give me ideas.
Okri, you think you can hear something from nearby, like a whispering noise or some. It's like a voice. Are you going to go investigate where that's coming from?
Is anybody else making any noise?
I mean, I think there's some noise around. Yes. If you're thinking, it does not seem to be in your head. It's like you can hear something quiet coming from the rocks nearby.
Yeah, sure. I'll go and press my ears up against the rocks, I suppose.
Could we?
Nothing bad has ever come out from behind rocks in recent memory.
Could we have the mysterious voice on for a moment here?
Weak little ratties. So weak, so squishy, so squashy. You got them, bishy boshy. But it seems that one of your little man friends is lost. Where is he gone? Is he as directionless as his wandering god? Oh no. Whatever will you do?
Yeah, no, Warhammer's been really fun. I've had a very good time with it. One other thing I do want to mention briefly before we move on. In particular, Boniface's character had something happen to him that was no choice of Justin's whatsoever. So I suddenly revealed that basically you're a wizard, Boniface, had happened, which is not something that he had any choice in. And I was really 50-50 about revealing that to Justin beforehand. And because I know Justin quite well, I decided not to. Which is a perhaps brave choice because it does define a lot of your character.
I think that, that's a space where, players who play together a lot can do those kinds of things.
And especially because, I think it's fair to say, Justin, you're not really someone who's that precious over your vision of your character. You're quite adaptable.
Sure. I do get a bit annoyed when I get screwed over though.
This was kind of a good thing.
Yeah, when the dice screw you over. Yeah,
when the dice, when I am betrayed by the people who I play games with.
I really hate it when the consequences of my own actions screw me over.
Well,
hey, I was just sewing over here. Now you've made me reap.
I agree that it's always the consequences of my own actions, but my own actions are always not only in character but also like good things to do. Normally, I'm punished for doing good things.
We're not going to talk about the ATCB series.
We're not talking about it. I'm not bringing it up. I didn't say anything. I'm just saying that, like, you know, Boniface was punished for playing the game as he was required to do in character, being pursued by dark forces, and be in the way that made the game most fun. And because of that, I get punished every time. Every
you
time
get punished with interesting abilities and skills.
I can't think of anything more righteous to do as a GM.
Oh, brilliant. Another short series that we have been we ran for a little while. I think it's safe to say this was definitely a bucket list for Matt, was Cincinnati Chronicles. Why don't you start off, Matt, with why it was a bucket list for you?
Why it was well, okay. So, as no one knows, I grew up in the 90s, and I was a World of Darkness kid. The highly influential multi-system setting from White Wolf. Vampire the Masquerade is the most famous one, but they have lots of different ones that are set in the same world where you play various supernatural creatures. And it was always a kind of thing when the games were released of like, how crossoverable actually are they? Because they take place in their own thing and they have canon kind of relationships between these different beings. But like, there's so many different rules and it's so clunky to kind of and it also is like, if you force them all together, it's like, where's the room for humans? You know what I mean? Like in this sprawling gothic punk world. And it was always at least a little bit of a holy grail for like a teenager growing up. Because that was my first it wasn't my first role playing, but it was my first big role playing thing. They're my D&D, right? Essentially. And it was always a kind of thing, if you grow up with that, of like, you'd love to do this sprawling story that pulls together all these different systems and all these different sort of, not worlds, but views on the same world and kind of pull it together in a story. So in that way, that's how it's a bucket list thing for me. So I decided that I was going to do a thing where we'd run, well, it ends up being 6 miniseries. 5 of them touching, using different of these World of Darkness systems, and the 6th one bringing them all together into a finale. I got a very willing and very forgiving group of players, which people here, John and Holly, and then it was also Inga and Pierre and Chris. And I told, with the aid of the players, a story of 5 different groups of supernatural creatures going through one of the worst days of their lives, or unlives, or post lives, all in the city of Cincinnati, all on the same hot summer's day in 1995. And their stories overlapped and crossed over with each other in certain ways. Not really literally, they never interacted with each other in those first 5 things, but lots of elements came through, and it became clear they were all kind of linked by a common antagonist. And then the 6th story was taking one character from each of those settings, bringing them together, and having the climax with said antagonist. And it was a lot of work. And naturally, because it was a lot of work and a labor of love, no one really watched it. But I'm nevertheless extremely proud of it. I was racking my brains when Sam asked for suggestions for clippable moments from Cincinnati Chronicles. But it's one of these things where everything's so interwoven that it's very difficult to pluck something out of context and go, oh, what a great moment that is, right? That's my excuse anyway. Like, there are very big moments of payoff in it, and I think like John and Holly would agree with that, but it's so difficult to kind of like contextualize them and show them out of like I think the revelation of the secret identity of a common NPC running through the series is something that people were like slightly mind blown by. Is that safe?
Definitely 100%. The big reveals were awesome, but then there were also, especially when we got into like a few of the later ones. So for me, it was when we got into Mage, I think it was, where I was like starting to put some stuff together. I was like, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And for some of those, I was 100% right, and for some of those, I was like just a little bit off.
And that's where you want to be, I think. Like, because you can still be
yeah.
surprised, but also you can go, "Oh, I did think that," or yeah. No, I think so. And it also gave me a chance to wheel out some of the systems of World of Darkness that aren't generally very played. Wraith, in particular, is something that a lot of people say is essentially unplayable, which is bollocks. Everything is playable. You just have to work at it. And it was really cool to run it because I haven't run it before, and it was interesting, and it had this massive, dramatic, dark as fuck climax to it, which was very fun to roll out for people. Yeah, but like I say, it's very difficult to pluck individual moments from Cincinnati Chronicles because it's one grandly woven tapestry of narrative. No, it's the thing I'm most proud of on the channel, and it's no, it is close. It's close because of something we haven't mentioned yet. I have mentioned it multiple times. We haven't talked about it.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. But yeah, that's unless John and Holly want to throw something in the ring for.
I mean, I think there were still some like quite nice moments in there, some of which were hilarious, like Pierre's stupid phone call.
Oh,
yeah.
Which was so silly. So silly.
His Nosferatu sires.
Exactly. A lot of the NPCs that you created were like really interesting and also so silly. But I remember at least, in a few of them, there were moments of NPCs just doing something that you just don't expect, which then becomes really funny because of how unexpected it is.
I think one of my lasting, but one of the reasons I loved it is because I love introducing people to the World of Darkness. Like I really love people sinking into it, and like you get this thing when you first bring someone towards it. And obviously, Holly was your first experience with it. It was Inga's first experience with it. It was Pierre hadn't done much of it before. He'd just done Vampire. Even John and Chris hadn't done, like, you hadn't played Mage or Wraith or Changeling really. So it was like, it's the kind of setting where you go, oh, this is cool, and oh, there's so much to this. And then you go a step further and you go, okay, there's like a seemingly infinite amount of depth and lore to this. It's crazy how rich it is and how it just seems to just go on and on and on and on. But introducing people just with that top layer and seeing them learn the lessons in real time that their characters are learning. Specifically, I'm thinking of the very first arc and your realization at the end of it, and obviously spoilers, that you have been masterclass manipulated by the prince, who you thought you were doing a favor for. And then at the end, it's kind of revealed to you, and within a speech, he basically gives a speech that sounds like an entirely different thing to all the other vampires he's given it to, but to you is basically, now you know, and you will keep quiet or you will die. And it's just like you and your characters going, oh, this is how this world works.
And that was the really, like, because I hadn't played any World of Darkness stuff before that, which meant that it was just one of those moments where you go, oh yeah, okay, I understand what World of Darkness is about now.
I understand just how fucked I am. Yeah, which is always fun for me.
Yeah, I think there were similar moments in Werewolf, where you get the switch of going, oh, okay, no, it's this particular bit is fucked. And there isn't really anything that we can do about that because of stuff that's going to happen later on.
Yeah. But you also get that wonderful flick when you go from vampire to werewolf of like, vampires still feel very personally powerful, but like there's a certain, like, you're surrounded by people more powerful than you, and there's always that switch that goes on with people where they play werewolf, where they're like, as like a race, as a species, they're underpowered because there's so few of them and they're fighting this terrible, hopeless fight. But then there's this switch with players when they're like, so hang on, I must be reading this wrong here with my stats, because it's suggesting that I roll about 4 handfuls of dice for damage. And they're like plinking at me with bullets that I just regenerate. And you're like, yeah, go fucking nuts.
That was one of the things that I loved about Werewolf, because mine was so combat heavy build, is that as soon as we got into the fight, I was like, I'll break out my 10 dice and just chuck them at the table. It was fantastic.
It's good.
But that meant that the order that we did them in, I think, was actually just to stroke off your ego a little bit more, Matt. The order that you did them was so nice in terms of the way that it's set up for players, because you start off with, someone who isn't necessarily super powerful in terms of actual mechanics, to werewolf, can obliterate anything, to mage, you can do pretty much whatever you want, provided you can get it like you have an explanation for how you would do it.
They're kind of classic mages as well. If someone hits you over over the head with a stick, you're screwed. But if you have even a moment, you could just warp reality and like do whatever you want. Yeah. To be fair, I can't take entire credit for that because I just ran them in the order they were released. But it is an interesting flow. But
Nice. But yeah, definitely do go check out Cincinnati Chronicles. There's such a good plot and connection between all of that, and the characters are really good too.
And I think the best thing about it is how it single-handedly took the Bengals straight to the Super Bowl.
It did. I take all the credit for that. It didn't go so far as to get them to win, though. Which,
well, no.
And as you're getting kind of the Cadillac ready to roll, Fen, you walk over to that public phone and you pick it up. You ring. It rings for maybe 3 or 4 times, and then it cuts to an answering machine, and a voice on the other end of it says, "Leave a message." Beep.
It's me. We need to talk. The usual place. I need some information. Please, can we just have a normal conversation? Oh, God damn it. Okay. I hope you guys appreciate what I'm doing.
I like the idea that you the 3 are already in the Cadillac and you're like looking around and realizing.
You guys. Okay.
Poor Fen. Also, can I just as a random thing, John has put together so much art for Telling Tales over the years, and did an especially good job. Some of the art in Cincinnati Chronicles wasn't John, but was like John working with the other people to like bring the best out of what they did, and did a really cracking job, because considering it was like 5 sets of 4 characters, and we had art for all of them. Admittedly, some of it was a bit cheaty art, but we held our hands up with that one. But like,
I am a little bit disappointed that it was essentially AI art before it was called AI art. When it was still, like...
it wasn't like mass scraped stuff. But like, we probably wouldn't do it again now. Well,
no.
You, not me.
No, definitely not.
But still, it was an achievement to have got it done, I think.
Random moment in the middle of the video to credit John and Steve for creative input for all the artwork and all the wonderful intros you prepped for.
Steve's done such an amazing job with thumbnails. I love Steve's thumbnail designs.
It's all good.
Those intro sequences for the streams as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
cracking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All Steve's magic work. So viewers can thank him in the comments if they fancy being especially nice.
Some of the opening videos are so good at setting the tone.
The Cincinnati Chronicles ones were awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll save Steve any more awkwardness. I'll move on to the next. Then we can do a few more.
Yeah, that's quite enough of that.
There are a couple of other one shots that I thought were worth mentioning before we get on to the last few series. So Tales from the Loop was very. Actually, I think all of the players really enjoyed that one. A bit of a different. I say different. It's just an unusual role play of both the world and the sort of setup because you're playing kids, and that's just a bit odd from a player perspective. Yeah, but it's a kind of a favorite setting of yours, Matt. Is that right?
Yeah, I really like Tales from the Loop. It sort of did the kids on bikes thing. I mean, I say that there's literally a TTRPG called Kids on Bikes, but it sort of did the kids on bikes thing before the kids on bikes thing had a big comeback with Stranger Things, and I feel it's a little played out now because I'm an insufferable hipster. But yeah, Simon Stalenhag's art and world that Free League adapted. Yeah, I really like it. It's sort of just like weird sci-fi horror with like this retro vibe to it. They did a TV show on Amazon as well, which the first couple of episodes were good. I didn't get through the rest of it, but it was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one kind of came out of nowhere, I thought. It was a system we'd wanted to do for ages, and I was kind of over it because I was like, yeah, it was at a stage where I was starting to maybe feel the channel a little bit, you know, just the produce content. And like, it was a pre-written one that I adapted, and I wasn't really in love with the source material. But then when we ran it, something just people really enjoyed it, and clearly really enjoyed it. I'm genuinely struggling to remember who was in it. John was in it. Inga was in it. You in it, Sam? Steve. Okay. And like, it was weirdly one of the most emotive things we've done, and it almost felt like it came out of nowhere. And there were multiple moments where people were obviously quite affected by it, and that's obviously something you love as a GM. But like, there was a few things I really remember. There was sort of like a subplot, or like little details about, obviously in this kind of more 80s setting, like it's any better at the moment in 2025, but like these elements of kind of like this character being trans, and there were like elements of that bleeding through just in like uncovering their history that like were quite affecting on both the players and the characters, I think. And then like some like characters' relationship with their parents was quite like, and I just like it's one of the things I'm most proud of just randomly throwing out, literally spur of the moment, was like Inga's character leaving her house, and her character was quite rebellious and like headstrong. And I just remember there was a moment where I just described all the used alcohol bottles just like outside on her porch, and it wasn't even discussed between me, and all of a sudden it was one of those moments where like Inga picked up what I was dropping down, and all of a sudden her character had this tragic home life that like, and it just really came together. And then at the end, it's got this feel-good 80s thing where you basically break the town of mind control by putting on a rock show, and like, yeah, it really worked in the end, surprisingly so.
And it was great because I think, as you say, like Inga's character, all of our characters had something that was a bit hard. Like as kids, like I remember, like I was just incredibly shy and couldn't deal with engaging with people. Like Steve, I feel like Steve, your character was a bit of a like, you felt like he was a bit bullied, was a bit of a nerd character, and didn't like.
Yes, again, it was an interesting one for me because like the distance from me now to my childhood is significant, and I couldn't really remember. I couldn't really remember much of it at the time anyway. So my character, I had to kind of, you know, I didn't veer very far from personal space, I guess, you know, nerd who likes reading. But there was such a sort of an innocence and a purity and a strength of character that came through from the, you know, from the other players and the other characters. They were so much more like raw and vibrant. Emotions just came through, which you don't necessarily like. Cthulhu, things like that. Characters tend to bury the emotions, only let them bleed through. But it just had such an interesting sort of power to it.
The light hadn't gone out in their eyes yet.
Yeah. It was nice that we all kind of got on board and managed to roleplay that quite effectively, I think. Which I guess it's very much, the group of people you have and all. And Tales from the Loop is something I feel like would suck if you didn't have people who were up for embracing that. But with the right group, it's really good.
I do think there is something that even I found that playing Boniface quite a lot, where I think there's a permission structure that you gain by playing characters that are especially like in their adolescence, like in that you have this permission structure to play characters that can't control their emotions, and so you can let that be a feature of the character, and that's not. And I think you probably potentially feel more like that isn't, like stealing the limelight or hogging things or making yourself the center of attention, because teenagers do that, and that's like as long as generally people are fine doing that. I do think there is something there, absolutely, and I think maybe more people should be, if they are lucky enough to have a group that they can feel comfortable doing that in, should try giving that a go.
Yeah, I like to follow on from what Justin is saying there. One of the things I always try and keep in my head when I'm writing material is that there's basically two emotions that we don't feel very much in our day-to-day lives as adults that I want to try and push onto characters, and they're not exactly the opposites of each other. But one is horror, which we don't often actually come up against in our day-to-day lives, and the other is wonder, which we kind of lose a sense of. And it's why fantasy and sci-fi is so important to us, right? Because it allows us to like put ourselves in the like mindset of someone experiencing something grand and unknowable for the first time. And right in the middle of those two is awe, right? Awe is essentially those two things combined. And because Justin's right spot on, when you roleplay, you're giving yourself permission to feel something that either you no longer feel because you've grown up, or because you simply don't have the opportunity to feel it in your day-to-day life. Because we live relatively humdrum, most of us live relatively humdrum experiences by our own frame of reference. So like allowing your characters to feel that way means that you, by proxy, start feeling some of that. And those are basically, that's the kind of continuum I try and put in front of players, like moments where they can be kind of aghast at reality and moments where they can be blown away by reality, even if that reality is false. And yeah, playing a child very much helps with that if you enter that mindset.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of not exactly child, but the childish, Land of Eam was a really enjoyable one shot, which very much had that exact same sort of silly, mad child energy, I think it's safe to say, and we all had a fantastic time.
The system is described as Lord of the Rings meets Muppets, and that's exactly what it is. And I know Stephen had some stuff on this because he was one of the delightful players in that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot to like in that thing. I like the system anyway. I really like the setting, but and the full game is this enormous hex crawl map where there is stuff happening everywhere you go, and for a one shot, obviously, it had to be constrained quite heavily. But I think that was done really nicely. It was sort of this. It was a town facing some somewhat horrible problems that needed fixing, that dressed that up as a competition between sort of rival adventuring groups. Which since that game, I've gone and like read a bunch more of the stuff in the setting, and like there's a place underground called the Dungeoneer Academy, which is exactly that. Like it is a school for adventurers where they group them into teams and pit them against each other. So it's very kind of on brand. But yeah, I love the kind of the breezy, colorful kind of optimism of it, but there's also this like kind of undercurrent of darkness as well. It's a post-apocalyptic setting,
Yeah,
albeit a colourful one, and it's one that is kind of under the grip of like corporate power and like explores a lot of things that are relevant in terms
like
of
a kind of
societal problems.
environmental things and like the overreach of capitalism and stuff like that. It's definitely thematic.
Exactly. And I think Matt's introduction to what happened to the adventuring parties perfectly encapsulated that ridiculous energy.
Matt's outroductions.
We never
Like
met them. They didn't have a good time.
Competing adventuring teams, I think that one of which was one team was blasted off the top of a tower and landed hundreds of feet below during the city orphanage's annual kind of barbecue camping day, and just the cartoonishly grim sort of like elements coming through.
And we were playing, certainly I think all of us to an extent, but I was playing a character that was just like flatly refused to acknowledge the horror that was happening. And just kind of pushed on ahead and like found the silver lining and everything, which was
my favorite quote from you in that bit, because you put on this, because your guy was like this a little, I can't remember the name of the race,
Welkin, like a
bird
person.
like a bird guy.
Yeah,
and like you had this thing where like I was describing these increasingly ludicrous and cartoonish fates for these competing adventuring teams, and your response to each one of them was just to go, "How terrible!" And then after like the second one or the third one, I just also dropped like a little bit of like, "Oh, and unfortunately this means for your team," like it was a little tiny problem, a tiny little obstacle to get over that was just like a bureaucratic inconvenience for you, and you just went, "How terrible!" And it was just like that you'd said the same thing about this. It really I was watching it back the other day and I could see myself struggling not to corpse. You like just like horrible orphans reigned with blood, how terrible, and this means you'll have to sign another form, how terrible, like just nothing. You weren't registering it at all. The character was just like
every single one of those like bloody brutal mass deaths meant progression for us in the competition.
It just moved you up the ranking until you had the dubious, now you win and you get to go in the awful dungeon underneath the city. No, it was a good one. A tragedy. Dundamore's daring do-gooders tried to flush the witch breath out with some sort of cunning plan involving channeling fresh air down into the cursed streets. But I suppose the wind turned on them. They were ensorcelled and climbed up to the top of the Beetlemead orphanage, then came down the fast way, right in front of the annual orphanage picnic fundraiser. I'm surprised you didn't hear them from the other side of town, like a tray of pies being dropped at Solstice Festival.
That's so tragic.
Awful.
Truly. I suppose this adventuring lark is more dangerous than I'd thought. No, you haven't heard?
No.
All of Canticle's crusaders were afflicted with a terrible poison from the mouth of the serpent statue. Quite nasty, apparently. Thrang over there had to drag the bodies into a cart and dump them in an old latrine pit. Over by where the other guards are, there's a goblin sat a short distance away with his head in his hands. Apropos of nothing, he howls, "Their faces will haunt my sleep forever! Those horrible Richter smiles!"
How terrible!
But that's, I suppose, you're coming in second now. It is second though. You're far behind the others.
How terrible!
Oh, I suppose you can't have been near the tower then. Turns out there were a lot more bats than the sheriff supposed, and they must have grown big and vicious on some of the old magics up there. Priel's precise practitioners of pure praxis were all hefted aloft by their shackles, and the bats just picked them apart, bits of them everywhere. The field workers on the edge of town thought it was a welcome summer rain and cheered for it for a while. I mean, it started out as cheering until old Sonja realized she had someone's nose in her hair. Anyway, the proud victors. No?
Hurrah! Let's all hear it for the bespoke bestiary rebashing Buccaneers brackets recently rebranded.
I would humbly suggest, because I think it's thematically quite similar, and it also lets Stephen carry on talking, and he's been very patient, but probably cover into the odd, because I know and Goblin Quest for that matter, because I know Stephen's got some shit to talk about in those.
I was going with Goblin Quest next, where we're on the last of the. I think it's the last of the one shots. Perhaps our second silliest one shot alongside Honey Heist. Sorry, John.
Honey Heist.
Second.
For Sherlock Holmes and a Vampire is presumably.
Oh no, you're right. There have been some really silly ones. Yeah,
they have. I think Goblin Quest goes ahead of those.
Goblin Quest was. So who's really Holly, Stephen, Justin, John, and Inga, right? Were the Goblin Quest people? Yeah, so we've got a lot of Goblin Quest people here.
And it's
who'd have thought it?
It's a game that is designed for that kind of mayhem. You're playing these like annoying, incompetent goblins. Like you like. Your character sheet comes with like a 6-pack of goblins on the understanding that of slightly different goblins with different names, on the understanding that you're gonna fail rolls and you're gonna die messily doing so. The premise is already silly, and it kind of built very slowly over the course of the session, and. So we were trying to put on a gig.
Yeah, bizarrely, I think Goblin Quest literally was the one shot directly after Tales from the Loop as well, or it was very close proximity to it. So it was like we're doing multiple one shots right now about saving the town by putting on a gig. But I think it's safe to say that the feel good sort of teenage emotion of Tales from the Loop
expressed itself quite differently.
Wasn't quite as present. Well, why don't you explain what your character did? Tell us what you did, Steve.
So I'd been playing a series of characters with like rhyming names. There was Twig Spitter and there was Hig Hitter, and we were getting to the bottom of my barrel of goblins, and Big Shitter was there, and he was.
His time to shine.
Standing on the roof of a kennel, which was our stage, trying to get the attention of the audience so that we could play our gig. And the best idea he had was just explosive fecal expression.
That's when I knew we'd jumped the shark.
As a channel.
In a way, I felt that we were always going to end up at that destination in that game.
Later on, I am going to when we cover a couple of last things, I'm going to talk, and this is no secret to everyone. In many ways, the last couple of years of the channel sort of became for me a quest towards making the resident, very expressive theatre kid make the most just various different levels of horrified and intrigued expressions. And she's not here with us tonight, but if you rewatch that segment, the way Inga goes from utter disgust to helpless levity over the course of a scene describing your character literally shitting themselves to death in like a display of fecal pyrotechnics, it's a joy.
Yeah, and I mean it's worth noting there was a lot of other stuff going on at that time as well, but it is worth viewing in its entirety because it's just madness piled on madness.
I feel the need to further expand on what happened. So Big Shitter drops Trow to try and get everyone's attention. Everyone's attention is got, and they're not happy because the goblins are spewing shit everywhere. They come towards us to start a fight. And then my character decides that instead of beating up us, they should try and convince them to beat up each other. And for some reason, the first thing that pops into my head is, hey, your mate said that he was gonna shit on you, and that's how I started a fight. And it worked. And I'm very sorry.
I don't think it's our finest hour, but
but it worked.
And the episodes are still monetized, apparently. So
Yeah.
Wow, gosh.
Just,
Yeah, I mean, I think we
display of
explore
YouTube's
a number of
contradictory standards.
yeah, yeah. I think on the channel we explore a number of different themes and flavors, and that was a bad choice of words. And I think Goblin Quest was like perhaps an outlier in terms of tone.
Well,
but
I never thought my sorry, Stephen.
Yeah, I think that we stepped up and met the brief.
100%. We did Goblin Quest how Goblin Quest is supposed to be done, and it turns out that in order to do Goblin Quest how it's supposed to be done, you need to shit everywhere. So, game designer's fault, really. It's not on us. It's on the game designer.
The rules don't say that you can't explosively shit everywhere.
And again, as I was saying, it's a trend in games now to evoke a certain theme, and the theme that Goblin Quest is trying to evoke is Big Shitter.
And like I said, the two main themes, wonder and horror. And in the center of those is awe. And what more awe were those bugbears and orcs and hobgoblins feeling when they saw what Big Shitter did? And really, in turn, what Stephen did.
I accept responsibility, but I refuse to feel shame.
Like you know where this is going, right?
You're going to throw shit at them.
Big Shitter is dropping his jorts, and is just
living
gonna
up to his namesake.
It's just going to unleash across the crowd from above.
Atmospheric, emotional role playing on Telling Tales. Tell all your friends.
I mean, I'm feeling pretty emotional.
Yep.
I think that Matt, you were like, "Oh, you're going to fling shit," and you're like, "No, I'm pulling the jorts out. Like this is straight from the source."
Yeah, I don't think we're at all stepping outside the bounds of what was intended when Grant Howitt wrote Goblin Quest.
Or outside the bounds of what was intended when I said I'd run it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, is that what you've rolled, or is that the reaction of the crowd?
Was there a good thing or a bad thing on there, or was it just flat?
No, it's just flat.
So the good news is that somewhat contributes towards starting a fight,
right?
But also something bad happens, and also somehow in this process, Big Shitter manages to injure himself.
I mean, I've got something, as I always do.
We've all
been there.
Yeah, I mean, when I said that something inside Smack made a twanging noise and gave out.
Oh no!
It's the same thing, but the twanging noise is just a little bit wetter.
Just internal.
Terrible. We can't believe we finally gone lowbrow.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. So yeah, I mean, I would say that the firing of kind of like fresh molten poo into the middle of this slowly growing melee has, if anything, only aggravated people's aggression, as one might maybe expect. But there's definitely at least one voice among the bugbears that shouts, "Oh, that goblin just shat on us!" And that's the something bad. is that their aggression now has a focus more than just amongst themselves of perhaps the goblins too.
I have spent all of the time since my last turn trying to think of something different that Big Shitter could do on this turn, and I have come up with nothing. He is just going to get down on his hands and knees and just arc this stuff across the crowd.
Like a light show.
Yeah.
You're like a goblin Rammstein.
See if we can get the ones at the back. So
Yeah.
this
is for you in the front seats.
Yeah. I don't think we're bringing the jorts into this, but
I think the goblin, goblin. I'm trying to come up with the goblin Rammstein. Is Gobstain? Is that any good? Is
Bumstain.
Bumstain. Yeah, Bumstain. Sure. Sure.
Yeah. I rolled a 6 and a 5.
Well, that completes that task. And with the vast arc of goblin excrement, is this too far? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
over the growing crowd, Boss Bluggersnick, a huge orc with massive tusks, kind of elbows his way through the crowd, and he's sort of like, "What's going on here? Someone said something about shit."
I never thought my segue into the odd would be something more sane, but I feel like Into the Odd was actually slightly more sane. Perhaps.
Yeah, I think comparatively speaking.
Which is actually a mini series that was done. I think it was really quite popular with those that watched it and played in it. It was kind of a bit unusual, but really very fun. I certainly enjoyed watching it.
And it was a bit of a sleeper hit on the channel as well. Like it got spikes in viewership again a few times. Again, I don't think there's much Into the Odd online. And interest has only kind of grown in that designers games since, peaking quite recently actually with God, I'm getting back into showing stuff off mode. But Mythic Bastionland came out earlier this year and is like massively escalated the popularity of Chris McDowell's material, I think. Anyway, yeah. Stephen, I think you're the one who had a bunch of Into the Odd stuff to talk about.
Well, there were lots of moments. It was another one when I was playing just a relentlessly optimistic character, which led to some sort of interesting things where he just like the main kind of NPC that was like taking us through the quest. But there's this amazing mechanic in Into the Odd where when you meet somebody, the first thing that happens is you roll a dice for like first impressions. And I failed that badly. And then in character just lied to this character's face and then was immediately caught in that lie.
Yes.
That was so funny.
Moment where you introduce yourself and give this absolute cock and bull story about why you're there and your experience, and then the other characters give completely honest, humble reasonings, and there's this pause afterwards, and you just go, "I lied."
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's very good. It's very funny.
Well, what we may lack in experience, we make up for in camaraderie and solidarity. So I'm sure we will do you proud, sir.
Yes. Do your servants have your equipment?
Yes.
Alas, I have fallen on hard times, and aside from this candelabra and my rifle, I have not much.
I carry all my equipment with me myself, Mr. Dunbar.
I lied. No. I thought the others were going to go with me on that.
That's the one that I go back to, and that still just
makes
me crease up.
And all of the ridiculous characters that Matt and all of the ridiculous noises that Matt made throughout.
Yeah. We talked about it on and off. I like as the stream was going, like somebody should clip all of this stuff together and
Yeah. If only anyone had the time and inclination to have done that.
It's such a ridiculous number of sound effects that you would have to be insane to cut that all together. It would take far too long. I'd roll VT.
I do have a suspicion when I come out with weird voices or whatever for my little Into the Odd NPCs, I do have a vague suspicion that if I listen back to them, they would all be identical. So I don't know.
There's only one way to find out, and that is when this series is finished. Like someone's going to do a supercut.
No, again. Wow! I'll show them. I'll show them all. They'll pay. I will control it. I will control everything. Mortals, peons. Emotion not found. Hello, friends. Light, that bones, I got the bones. Bone. Away. One from Stephen. I'm going to need a supercut of all of Matt's noises from this session for reasons. Look, what you do on your own time.
It was stellar work. That's what
I wasn't expecting to make as many silly Muppet noises, but it turns out.
I'm going to need a sound effect, Matt.
I am.
Thanks.
There we go. So thanks. As I said on the Discord when Stephen did that, I watched it, and the last pitiful remnant of my self-respect left forever. So time well spent, I think, because now I'm living a life free of delusion. So thank you for that, Stephen. Yeah. Yeah, I
feel like
can't
a
give.
good-
Again, it's a pre-written one. That Iron Coral. It's in the core book, so I can't take full credit for like the full ludicrousness of it. But also an example. Interestingly, we went from, and we literally mentioned at the beginning of the series, we went from a position of like, oh, hex crawls won't work on stream to like, I'll just run the hex crawl. And you know what? It did work. It was fine.
It lends
so,
itself well to it. It's you get it straight from the book. It's this incredibly breezy, like economical with language thing that just kind of clips along. You have these experiences and they make no sense, and you go have some more experiences, and it's a jolly good romp.
Yeah. I also had a good time naming those episodes. Yeah. Particularly, I actually can't remember what it's called, but there is one prolonged interaction you have with, is it called the shaft or the, it's a very euphemistic term in the thing.
Wasn't it foamy shoot?
Foamy shoot. Yeah. That's it. And it's
that
just being able to call an episode that. It's not my peak naming stuff. I have nothing else to particularly say about Coriolis, but the effort I put into naming those episodes of Coriolis, look, you're not going to find many other actual play channels where to name the episodes, the GM goes to medieval Arabian poetry in order to like cut imagery related bits out and put them in. Look, that's all I'm saying. If I've done nothing else in this life,
there's something wrong with the world that Coriolis is not the most successful video on YouTube because of the naming.
Because of only the naming. It's average TT at best, but the naming, the naming is crucial. Yeah.
Back to another series that I was GMing and hoped to return to. Wicked Ones was a bit of a different thing again, trying unusual stuff. The system is it's similar to Blades in the Dark. Well, it's the same system as Blades in the Dark, but there's a lot of added on stuff all about dungeon management, and there's a whole sort of mini game in there that you play about having raids on your dungeon effectively, like Dungeon Keeper or something like that. It's a very fun system. I think there's a lot in it, so it ended up a bit tricky to play at times. But we had a lot of fun, and very much in the vein of stuff like Blades of the Dark you were talking about earlier, Matt. I, as a GM, was having a great time going, I don't care about doing awful things to you. You're terrible. And
oh, yeah.
You were terrible. Literally playing the bad guys. So, yeah, I think that was pretty fun. Players agree. Moments in that.
It's one of those weird things where you are happy seeing your plans succeed because they're your plans, but you also are happy seeing your plans completely fail because you deserve it.
Yeah. Honestly, it's nice. I mean, I think there's in a lot of systems you have the sort of like, you're not nice people, but Wicked Ones, you're explicitly the bad guys.
The bad guys.
Your objective is to be the worst you can be, which I think is almost, I don't know what you guys felt, but I think it's almost quite challenging sometimes as well to play.
I found it challenging.
Yeah. I think it can be challenging to know when you're crossing a line. For example, my character was a snake person whose favorite food was meat, and specifically people, and sometimes not always entirely dead people. So there's a lot of things in that if you sort of I went with it because it's sort of cartoon bad guy sort of stuff, but also if you think about it too much and you do it too realistically, then it's like, oh no, that's actually really disturbing. But I did intend it as more the sort of Saturday morning cartoon villain stuff. But
some stuff at the end was not Saturday morning cartoon stuff.
Yeah. I persisted on describing things a little realistically as well. But to counter that, obviously it is inevitably silly. You have to do funny things. And I think a lot of the disagreements between characters offset that as well, because you're evil, you fight each other all the time. There's a whole little mechanic in that for like conflict between players. inevitably. And one of the most amusing bits of the whole story was based off the fact that Sam's character, who was very much a magical hoarder, liked gaining magical items and wealth, I suppose, as well, but like gaining things, power and things, had a ritual that influenced them that Chris's character, an adorable little gremlin, had cast. And the ritual basically meant that he was going to see something that he thought was really, really important, but it wasn't, and get utterly obsessed with it. I think that was more or less the effect. It might have had some other nuance to it. And this ended up in the most ridiculous scene in a wizard's tower where everyone else was actually trying to progress the plot. And Sam's character just got really obsessed with like a flagstone and then an umbrella stand that must be a magical object. And it's safe to say I think by the end of that story, Sam had also managed to summon skeletons that attacked you as a group. And you were really starting to question whether he was actively trying to bring you down.
It's one of the best systems that I've done for PvP, because like you're not actively fighting each other, but you are trying to screw each other over. But to the extent that you're still achieving your goals, but also you want the other person to be as miserable as possible. Because I don't know about other players, but my character and Chris both have like vengeance motivations, so we hold grudges, which is partly why that started, because I think Sam's character had screwed over Chris's character somehow. So to get back to him, the kobold pretended that he had divined that there was a magic object hidden in the wizard's tower. And then because Sam ruined his role to summon the skeletons and the skeletons started attacking us, I assumed that Sam's character had gone rogue and tried to kill Sam's character. And then after all of that, Sam's character then did a spell on all of us to make us forget that he'd horribly flubbed everything and tried to kill us. So we came out of it going, that guy's such a great necromancer.
Yeah, you did. He genuinely succeeded at fooling you all to make him think. I forgot about that. When I was cutting around that episode trying to figure out where we were at, I just started on a moment and I just cut to the moment when you're actively trying to garrote Sam's character. I'm just like, just trying to kill each other now. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
PvP takes on an extra edge when it involves garrotes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think the only thing that stopped me was Steve's character noticing me and being like, why are you trying to garrote him? And I've just got like this perfect comic image of like...
Yeah, I think my character was more kind of not exactly a diplomat, but more a sort of a character who uses words and trickery and that sort of thing. And God, that episode was tough work, trying to sort of talk people into and out of all sorts of things. Oh,
it's
plus
like
really crap dice rolls as well.
Which is like your favourite thing, isn't it, Steve?
Well, the two combined it was messy.
It was hard.
Yeah.
I remember there was one episode that you unfortunately weren't there for, but it's Torval, isn't it? Were you Torval or were you?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Torval's.
Oh no, Torval's the Mr.
Yes, begin with a T. I get my notes up.
I can't remember. But like your character was central to the proceedings because your character was the only one who could speak human.
Yeah.
So we sort of had to troop play your character, and it was so hard. I've had newfound respect for what you were doing with that character after that episode.
Yeah, Wicked Ones is it's a really strongly improvisational game, and again, because it's kind of Blades in the Dark-ish, you have to jump between playing a character and sort of figuring out where the world's going, and yeah, it's a lot. It was great fun, but it was quite a load.
It's safe to say, like, I talked about this a bit at the end of the last one. We're thinking of doing a little bit of like shifting of rules, like home brewing a few bits, just because it puts so much on the players. It's almost challenging to play. So we're going to think a bit about that before we come back to it. But we are planning on returning to that one as well.
One day, maybe again in the library, someone comes across just all of them sat in a circle, also kind of interspersed with desecrated little holy trinkets, kind of robbed from the little chapel and from various other places. But all of them kind of with a very emaciated-looking Beepo in the middle, and a little small kind of wizard's tower that's been made very crudely out of sticks, and him just kind of staring at the wizard's tower. And they stay like this for what seems like hours.
Osric, I'm going to play off on you're obsessed. You have to know what this is while it's going on.
Osric's going to like awkwardly stand outside this circle, and assuming that it's going to take like hours, he's going to stand there for like 10 minutes, and he's going to like walk away, and he's going to walk back. Osric's going to like pace back and forth, try and avoid interrupting, and then after like half an hour of staring at this, he's going to be like, "Hey, Beepo, 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 what are you doing? What's this? What's happening?"
So annoying.
What do you want, you spawn of a wretch and an idiot?
You're doing magic. What are you doing? What's this magic?
Busy doing work for the Lady of Knowledge.
Are you cursing someone? Who are you cursing?
You petulant child, I will strike you from this realm.
All right, you tell me later. Will you tell me later?
If you're silent, maybe I will teach you later.
All right. Good luck. Good luck with your cursing. Happy cursing.
Beepo is going to insert themselves into this scene.
Go for it.
For a bit of payback. It's like, what you doing, Osric? What's going on here?
Netting lemons? Can you not see?
You've no need for lemmings. Explain yourself.
Dumps like 4 of them on the riverbank right in front of you.
People will kind of poke. People will be kind of up poking one. These all look useless. What are you actually planning?
You still haven't told me what your ritual was, and I know you were cursing someone, and I know it was a good one, and you won't tell me what it is. I'll tell you what this ritual is if you tell me what your ritual was.
A fair exchange. I was doing some work on the wizard's tower, as it seems that is where we will go next. Scrying. And I think there's something quite powerful there.
Osric's eyes absolutely light up.
Great way of manipulating Osric. I love it.
What did you see? What do they have?
It's hard to say. My Lady Malawa, she gives things quietly and in ways that are not obvious. But of this it was clear. The thing that is powerful will appear to be completely powerless. That's its trick. So I don't know. Maybe it's a doorknob. Maybe it's a brick. Maybe it's a stone. But something in there which you least expect may be the key to the whole kingdom.
We need to take everything. Osric is going to start inspecting everything in this room that looks even like vaguely out of place. And try to figure out if it's magic or not.
Okay.
Oh my god. Osric, are you all right?
We have to find... We're here for these magical artifacts, Tereth. They are hidden amongst the ordinary items in this tower, and we cannot leave any unfound.
How do you know that?
Beepo told me.
Osric has shuffled over to another corner and is now sniffing a vase.
His ritual discovered it.
Right. I see. Yes, well, that must be the case, I'm sure. Yes, you carry on. That's I'll just look over here. And I'll leave Osric to it, I think.
Osric appropriately rolled a failure.
Of course. See, the thing is, unless you got anything but a success, if you got a mixed, I was going to be like, you don't find anything useful. You do find things you think are useful to take home. But what is a failure? You don't even succeed in finding anything that is useless. Apparently.
Can I propose a thing?
Yeah, go for it.
He finds a very beaten up, boring looking umbrella stand that's like half the size of him that he obviously thinks is magical. That he has no way of carrying on his own.
Perfect. This is definitely a thing, Osric.
Gareth, I need your help. We must get this into the boat.
You're sure?
Can you not tell from just looking at it the magical energies emanating from this?
I will
They were
look at it.
incompetently attempted to hide this, but I can tell easily that it's magical and of great power.
So just to clarify, you are carrying this useless ruined old umbrella stand out to the boat rather than doing anything else in the tower.
You're saying this is
Yes.
as if there's something more important to do?
I think I was asking Darren the question. I know Osric is fully committed to this course of action.
I'm. This is amusing me. So yes.
Oh, okay.
So Osric, what next? What lead on?
Well, there must be more. It's a whole tower. They must have many artifacts here. We need to get back in and keep looking, Jared. This is just the start. We may need to make a return trip. I don't know if our boat can hold all that we're going to need to take from this tower.
So much crap.
Oh my god. Tareth will be biting his lip. And yeah, I guess we go back to the tower. And,
I'd love to imagine Terrace going just fighting and sniggering, just like under your breath as you pick up useless things. Osric, make me a scan roll.
That's a 1.
It writes itself.
There's one particular flagstone in the floor that's a slightly different shape. It's cemented in, but you really need to get that one out somehow. Oh god.
Gareth, we're on to another one. I'm telling you, this stone, I can feel the power.
Yeah, that's Wicked Ones. I think that's everything we talked about discussing except for Yellow King, as Matt has repeatedly alluded to. So
yeah,
can you kick us off with a bit of...
I do want to talk about this because, like, it's a weird feeling to be like, I think I'm burnt out on this thing I've spent 5 years on, and to have that feeling when you feel like you're doing some of your best stuff on it, which is odd. Before, like, I talk about Yellow King, though, I did allude before to like yeah, like, I do genuinely feel like, at least, not my motivation, but some of my like high points over the last 2 years, as I said, was basically making Inga react in various emotive ways. And I think I would like to give a shout out to the Blade Runner miniseries, actually, which I think is, again, stealthily one of the best things we did. And also was something I didn't have high hopes for, because I was quite cynical about the Blade Runner RPG when Free League released it, because I was like, I'm not sure the setting can necessarily handle an entire TTRPG. I was wrong. And Free League, as something that Justin mentioned earlier, crafted a system where, like Alien, they introduced a lot of mechanics into it in order to make it, the mechanics support the atmosphere and blah, 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 blah. But specifically, there's a bit in Blade Runner which was really good in general, and also a really good pre-written scenario, where I played a character, an awful NPC, clearly so well. Maybe it was just my natural sleaziness coming through, but so well, apparently. I remember Inga saying to me, and this is in retrospect, I was genuinely worried about the next time I was going to see you in real life, because I was so angry at that character. They gave me such a visceral sense of disgust that, like, I got really kind of angry at you before I was like, That's not fair. And it was really satisfying to me because that is more or less exactly what I'd set out to do, largely because I'd seen the art of this person, of this character in the book, and I was like, oh, they just drew Steve Bannon, huh? Well then, let's Steve Bannon it up. If you're not familiar with Steve Bannon, probably don't be. He's not worth your time and effort.
Good
but,
advice.
So that was a good joy. Yeah. You walk into what seemed to be a relatively smallish but not tiny, smoke-filled and dimly lit office with Kill magazine covers plastered all over the walls. There are about a dozen people working at various desks, kind of working on fairly low rent computing systems, presumably putting together the latest issue. Over at the back is a slightly shuttered off office, and in the doorway of that is a young man who looks quite excited, talking to a somewhat bloated older man with kind of slightly unkempt, slicked back grey hair, who kind of like makes some kind of like gesture for the young man to calm down, and then walks directly over to you walking in. He looks around at both of you and says, I'm Yella Shylar. What do you want? What do you want from me?
Lovely to meet you, Mr. Shylar. Benna, this is Novak.
Novak just nods.
We are here about an incident at the Snake Pit.
Whoa. Badge numbers, full names.
Yeah, I mean, Novak presents his badge.
I reel mine off, knowing full well that it will, and sort of brace myself slightly.
Just Fenner.
Just Fenner.
So what is this? A calculated insult? Fuck it. I don't care. What do you want?
To do my job. As I say, there was an incident at the Snake Pit, which we've been told you might have been a witness to, and we're hoping to get a statement.
It was a confusing and chaotic incident. I'm not sure someone of my advanced age could have spotted anything in that thrashing crowd. But I do run a magazine. I'm a journalist. Maybe there's some things you could tell me that could spark a few memories. I know memories aren't something you're overly familiar with.
I'm sure you heard or possibly even saw that somebody was shot.
Yeah. Look, clearly you're not too familiar with how this works. Obviously, I know you're, fresh out of the test tube. He turns and addresses Novak. What have you got for me? What can you give me that I give you what you want to know? Information. You tell me things that you found out, and I'll tell you what I know. That's how it works with journalists. You really should tell them that. Code it in or whatever.
Well, perhaps my partner here hasn't had the pleasure of interacting with journalists of your caliber before, but I'm sure we can discuss some terms.
I have to say that the bit with Yella was like for me personally really fucking difficult because there was a bit where I was like quiet for a sec when Novak first started speaking, where I was literally in my head just going, all right, every instinct of me as a person wants to fucking snark this up or like go to town yelling at this guy or like really fucking put this dude in his place. And I was like, that is not Fenna. Fenna is going to try and smooth things over. Fenna will play the role that this guy expects her to play and use that to kind of to the advantage. And so she will play the, like, I know she's going to be dismissed, so she'll play the character who's going to be dismissed. But I was like, that is like against every instinct of me as a person. And I felt so dirty trying to put myself into that headspace. It was deeply unpleasant for me.
And then that kind of ran on to Yellow King, which I'm not singling out Inga because I'm like just playing this stuff for Inga, but Inga is very expressive. So is often a bit of a litmus test for how the other players have felt. Because they'll be there going, ooh, in the way, but Inga is there going, you know what I mean? So like Inga is the canary in the coal mine for how the other players are feeling. And Yellow King sort of became a series of like, how much can I freak this group out with this? And like, even for me, I think, slow burn cosmic horror, where like every episode of Yellow King, and again, we've got some of the fine players from Yellow King here. We've got Steve, we've got John, we've got Holly. I'm not missing anyone, am I, from who's here? No. Because it was also Sam and Alex and Inga. Other Sam. And almost every episode was like this sort of like little creepy details. And then at the end, maybe like, oh, is that something genuinely supernatural? Maybe it's not, but maybe it is, and it's sort of, it's to quote one of my favorite comedy scenes of all time, it's the implication, right? And it's just like this slow bleed of horribleness. And weirdly, and if anything brings me back to doing some more recordings for TT and trying to finish stuff off, it will be the Yellow King. Because, I have such glorious plans. And like, we actually ended at a weird point with that, or at least paused or whatever we've done. Because like the last couple of episodes, that I've so much joy in this sort of gentle little drip feed. And then I think it's safe to say the last episode, on 2 separate occasions in it, I just slammed my foot to the pedal. And like that dissonance. Oof. And also, honorable mention, there's some real lovely creepy scenes in there in general. I'll let the 3 players maybe mention some stuff. But like, there's one bit in, I think it's the 3rd episode, where there's basically an interaction where Inga's character essentially sees a ghost sort of beckoning her in the Paris catacombs, and does like a test, and it passes it and manages to run away from it rather than go with it. And then it's revealed at the end of the episode, they basically find this kind of weird time jumped situation in a sarcophagus. And it's weirdly one of my favorite moments of the series. Isn't even in the play. It's in after that, where the players kind of went, so what would have happened if Inga's character hadn't made that roll? And I was like, oh, well, then you'd have found her in the sarcophagus. And she would have been alive, but like slowly blinked and opened her eyes as if waking up from a deep sleep. And the general reaction, I love that shit. Hi, Inga.
I felt really good about rolling that one.
Sure. So you have a lantern, right?
I do, yeah. I guess that's also probably blown out, though.
It did, but do you want to? Are you going to relight it?
Yes, I sure will.
Okay. You relight the lantern. You find yourself in another kind of like rough limestone tunnel, unremarkable in any way. You've been through a number of these that look like this, but this one has a difference. Ahead of you, a figure stands framed in something like light. They are tall and robed and cowled in an ascetic fashion and stand as if waiting for you. They extend an arm to you in greeting or welcome or an offer of help, though the fingers that protrude from the loose sleeve of the robe seem distended and withered in the gathered darkness. Despite this registering with you as a moment of much-needed caution, you feel an overwhelming and light-headed urge to take their hand. I need a composure roll from you, please. I think it's a situation which probably many of your senses are blaring at you to not do what you want to do. So, like, it's probably not going to be like, you know, it's not going to be like, it's a modest challenge.
Yeah. Honestly, my challenge more here is that, like, I kind of feel like I don't want to add points to this because I'm like, I feel it's shocking. I kind of want to just leave it to the dice, but like that also feels like kind of stupid in the sort of mechanics of the game. But
I definitely say it would be, yeah.
yeah. So I will do it. Oh, how many will I put? Yeah, I'm gonna go pretty big on this one. I think I'm gonna add 4 points from my pool, and I've just rolled a 3, so that's 7 total. Oh, God,
okay.
Added more. It is what it is.
You do not give in to being compelled to reach out and take this figure's hand. You definitely have a like wash of this is a very stressful, intense moment, clearly. What do you think Howie's reaction, if not compelled to reach out and take the hand, will be? And it can be like anything. Like, I wouldn't advise reaching out and taking the hand, otherwise it kind of messes with the thing. But like, you can speak, you can run, you can collapse, you can scream, you can try and hit the thing. Like, what do you think Howie's reaction would be?
I think just like initially start just trying to, if he's as he has like forced himself not to go forward and reach out, start to just try and back away, but like keeping eyes fixed on this thing, and like with like probably first steps like really quite shaky, but trying to like just more like hopefully building a bit of speed to kind of just go like back and just put some distance between this thing, like desperately hoping there's something, a passage behind me or something that I can go into, and there's nothing else behind me that's worse than this, which I don't think there will be.
Absolutely. You back away, and it's like you don't fall over, but you're definitely kind of stumbling as you're doing so. It's uneven footing, right? And as you do so, you kind of like briefly, you don't look away from the figure, but you like at least tilt your eyes to kind of like get a sense if there's something behind you, and then like something in the corner of your vision flickering in and out, like it's the same thing of, oh, did I see that? But it's like in reverse, it's gone. And at the start of that, you stumble backwards a bit and collide with someone who says, oh, Monsieur Drummond, you are good. I am not shaky with this gun. Yeah, the other thing I would note is that final thing, the discovery in the sarcophagus, had an alternate version. And it was an alternate version if the person who encountered the robed figure in the tunnels had failed the roll.
I was going to ask, I was going to say, like, I don't know if you can tell us this or not, but like, I'm desperate to know what would have happened if Howie had reached out.
If Howie had reached out, then Howie would not have emerged from the tunnels.
Yeah.
Howie would
have Howie been in the sarcophagus?
Howie would have been a third, still living, and in a kind of coma, a sleep coma state in the sarcophagus, slightly curled up. And as you opened it, he would have slowly blinked and opened his eyes.
Oh my God, that is
as if waking from slumber.
From a nice dream.
And that would have been the ending. Inspiring like a genuine sense of unsettlingness. That's the shit I live for right there.
There were definitely a fair few moments that did that, at least for me. That just you just created some situations that were just like, oh, I'm really glad that I'm not actually ever going to be in that situation.
Yeah. I think like there was some nice little description, and I am guilty of sort of roller coaster, like laying track down and players just go along it. And I'm especially guilty in like Yellow King of just indulging myself in reading out several paragraphs of what's essentially just like horror descriptive narrative. But I also remember it's one of the only times I've written a thing in a role-playing thing, and as I'm writing it, I've been like, I don't like this. And I was like, I don't like this. Maybe I should take it out. And I went, no, I should write more of it.
Awful.
And it's like, it's a vision that I think it was kind of random which of you saw the things, but it was a vision in the Brittany episode, which I really enjoyed I wrote that entire episode not knowing that Holly was really familiar with Brittany. And that was a really cool bonus. But it was one of the visions, one of the characters, I think it might have been Sam's character, of these sort of spectral, horrific folklore washerwomen. Oh, was it John? Okay. Basically, like, washing this dead, like, young man and, like, thrashing his limbs against, like, the rocks to, like, dry. And it was just like, I was writing it going, I actually don't like this. And then, of course, then going, oh, well, then I'll write more of it. So that was a fun one, but I don't know if
that whole
the players
episode was
a good one. It was a good one because talk about fucking that was the most slow burn one.
It started
basically
so
nothing
wholesome.
happened.
It started so nice, and then you ruined us at the end. We got fucking chased through the town by insane townspeople.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite, like, all of a sudden things are weird drops where you're there at the Saints Festival and the guy comes out like painted as the saint, and he's got like a guy dressed as a wolf on a leash, and it just felt very like folk horror. Oh, this is weird. Nothing is necessarily supernatural, but it's all a bit Midsummer, you know what I mean? It's all gone a bit Midsummer.
That episode started with us buying some bread and bacon for Holly's mum, and then listening to her dad tell us how proud he was of her. Like, what, how, why?
Especially for my character, that episode was fucked. Because, like, also, it was her hometown, so you'd specifically put her in the place where she was gonna feel safe, and then did all that. And it was,
Do you not even know this guy? He's fucked in the head. Like he's that honestly. Like
I've never denied it.
You know,
in many ways, my greatest strength. But yeah, I don't know if there's any other bits from Yellow King that leap out. I do have another one, but like before I start spouting on about how I love my own work, I'll more. I mean, yeah. Does someone else want to praise my work? Or
I mean, specifically for me, one of the moments that like got me in the moment of like, oh no, was you know, at I can't remember which episode it was. It was towards the end of one of the arcs, because it's when we're at the base of the tower and there's like the art exhibition going on. And then you describe the painting and you're like, and as you look up to the top of the tower in the painting, and you're like, oh no, because it's where you realize where you're going with it. And then it's the inevitable, this person is in the painting, and then you look up and you're like, okay.
Yeah, the subplots go click, 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 and it's that, the realization.
Yeah.
It's a cheap trick, but it's a good one.
Hey, it works. And it worked on me, so, you know.
Yeah.
I like that episode as well because Matt worked so hard to separate us, and like,
that was the other thing.
Two of us were in the art exhibition, and then the other ones were off doing the mystery. And for me and Holly, it was like, oh, it's kind of our subplot. Oh no, the main plot is crashing into us with the speed of the train. This was the main plot all along.
And it also, because that bit felt like real loss of innocence because you'd already gone through so much, but like it was written to be the Paris campaign's tipping point. Like, you now enter the next phase. Shit is going to get real, sort of thing. And I think it did a decent job of that.
One of my favorite moments, partly so like there's a bit of difficulty in playing in a game in a historical setting because you're constantly like racking your brain for your own historical knowledge. And in Vaesen, we sort of get around that because we're intentionally like it's in 18, so everything's like very fluid. But with King in Yellow, it's a lot more set. And the episode where we met Pierre and Marie Curie, and Pierre is sick. And like as soon as we figured out who they were and we heard that, there was like a general, oh no.
Because you have knowledge.
Because we know. And then the dates sort of didn't make sense. So even though we know more about the Curies, it sort of deepened the mystery. Because we were like, oh, he's sick because of all of the radiation poisoning. But that doesn't happen yet. So what is it?
And then also, like, it then starts to link to that cosmic horror sense of something is coming from beyond. And, like, to have, like, the Curies there kind of going, like, yeah, there's just people roaming around Paris who seem to be setting off these high readings on this kind of, like, these devices that we don't fully really understand ourselves yet. And, like, like, Pierre spent time with a lot of these people, and now he's sick. And it was just, like, I mean, that is the beginning of the last episode, and the way that episode ramps right at the end is like, it
was also a weird challenge to play because it's one of those things where you know about the thing. We as a general people who have been through secondary education, we know a lot more about radiation and nuclear whatever. But when you're role-playing someone who exists at a point in time where this is all brand new and unknown, and it's like, okay, so I don't need to think about how it works. I need to think about how my character would potentially think it works within this setting as well, of like a very new age in science where science and mysticism are sort of like interacting with each other. And it's really hard to roleplay stuff that you're not supposed to know.
Yes. Yeah.
But like, in some ways, like one of the great things about that episode was just the way that radiation and the corruption of the Yellow King just, they're great.
How different are they? Are they the same, essentially the same thing, or is it just all part of the same? Yeah. Those were definitely my thoughts when I was writing it. I think it's worth mentioning because it's an interesting thing where you talk about like the divergence between like player and character knowledge and blah 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 blah. I actually want to give a special shout out. One of my most things I really enjoyed, because he's not on this in the Yellow King, was Alex's character, and he was playing a very logical, grounded, rationalistic character. And like you always like are interested, well, how is that going to meet this story that we're telling? And Alex took the very sensible approach of like, oh, he's going to fall like so hard because the entire underpinning of his world is shattered step by step. And he's like, his character at this point in the story is really starting to go off the edge. And like, because Yellow King doesn't have a sanity system in this, really, it has like the cards, but they come and go. It doesn't have a sanity system in the same way Call of Cthulhu does. So it's all just role play and like Alex's decisions with it. And I was really enjoying how he was like taking that, going from like almost at the beginning, the character who could resist it all, and like because it was relatively light, and then the further it gets and the less he can deny that something is happening, the more he's like collapsing mentally. Was really good. Yeah, that was good. It was also in Yellow King, I used a trope that I really love using, that I use several times to good effect. And this is Matt's hot tip for things, which is seemingly normal NPCs suddenly becoming not normal, which is a very good little horror thing to do. Something that I was in, like, I will shamelessly say, a lot of my inspiration comes from this, literally from one scene in the first season of True Detective, which I think does it in a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way. But there's one, I did it a few times in this series, because if there's one thing I love doing, it's repeating myself. But there's one, the highlight scene bit that I really love doing, and it's such a throwaway little piece. It's in the second episode, which is, I think, my favorite one overall. And you are literally just at a postal office or charity, like a place where a lot of like possessions and mail are moving around, and you're just talking to this slightly corrupt postal worker, essentially, or like
it's like
and
a
you're having
Lost and Found.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is, and it's like you're just having this quite humdrum conversation with him, like interrogating him, trying to kind of bribe him into like finding out this thing. And he's just describing this stuff to you and going, and literally right in the middle of the conversation, he just goes, "Have you seen the yellow sign?" And like if you go back and watch it, there's like a silence for about 5 seconds. And I can't even remember which one of you goes, "What did you just say?" And he repeats what he says, but without that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. It's the easiest little trick in the world to make people just go, "What?" And if you can freak the players out mildly, then you can definitely freak the characters out. So there we go.
Seems like a perfect place to end, because I think we're on brand. We had a lovely little bit of happy jollies in the middle, but really, Telling Tales, I feel like one of our big themes overall has been being creepy.
And in the games,
sometimes in games too. Yeah, I think I won't labor it at all, because we've been going for a wee while now. We'll finish up in a moment, but it's nice to kind of have a reflection on what has made Telling Tales, and it's like we've done all sorts of different things, but I feel like the earnestness that comes into our style of play in that sort of horror and creepiness and fun and silly stuff as well, but playing, we touched on with Tales from the Loop, where we're talking about playing genuine characters that actually feel and matter and are in a place and are genuine. I feel like that's very important to us in all of this, and a moment like that in Yellow King just wouldn't work, just like so many other things we talked about wouldn't work without that.
And there've been so many the main compliments we get, other than like the various GMs getting, like not just me by any means, Johnny and other people as well, getting genuine compliments on like how much work they've evidently put into like one of my highlights is one of our regulars on Yellow King lives in Paris, and he's like, I can't believe, like, I'm literally, you're describing things and I'm like, oh, well, I know what you're describing before you say what it is. And like, we've had other stuff with Johnny, we've had other stuff, I'm sure with Sam as well, talking about the obvious work people are putting, but also the repeated compliment we always got was, you feel like I'm with a group of friends playing a real role-playing game, not like a presentation of a role-playing game, and everyone is taking it seriously in the way it should be taken seriously, but having fun in the way it should be fun. And that's exactly what I'd always tried to do, and we did do that. I think everyone,
and we will continue,
and you will continue, and you here will continue to do that.
So yeah, 5 years. We have done 5 years, and we hope for many more.
Yay.
Thanks very much for joining, folks. As we said, hope you enjoyed this retrospective on all of what we've done. Hope it might inspire you, if you haven't checked out all of our stuff, to go and have a look on YouTube. So we're saying we haven't mentioned everything. There's loads of other stuff. There's lots of other Call of Cthulhu's out there, loads of other one-shots, probably a few series we haven't mentioned as well. So do go have a look in our old records. That doesn't mean we don't like them. It means we have so many things to talk about.
Tell us what your favorite moments of the last 5 years are.
Yeah, do.
Like, tell us what we've forgotten. Tell us what made an impact on you. And then send those clips to all of your friends.
Indeed. Please do. Join the Discord. Come chat with us on there as well. We love feedback on this sort of stuff. Or post your ideas of anything. down below in the comments. It's all welcome. All helps us as well. Think about what we're going to do. And check out below for all of our other links. It's relevant as well. As I mentioned briefly at the beginning, we will be continuing just with a bit of a shift around leadership, and it's going to take us a bit of time to get to new things hopefully rolling, but do keep an eye on the Discord if you're on there, the YouTube social stuff, or just keep an eye out for new videos and streams and stuff. Yeah, Telling Tales will continue and hopefully build off all of the lovely stuff we've already done. So thanks for all your support, for everyone watching as well. Means a lot to see you out there enjoying our content. And as Matt was saying, to have all those lovely comments about what we're doing keeps us going. Well, we love doing this ourselves anyway, but it really, it matters when you see people enjoying it and being inspired by it and everything. So please do, and let us know what you think. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye, folks.
Bye.